What's up right there, boy? A little bit of the Space Dust IPA. Good times. Prost! Get started right. What's up, dudes? What's going on? Man, have we been busy doing a lot of stuff here, you know? See my cardboard box over there, that's all my Kydex I ordered. So pretty stoked about that. Yeah, you know, I've got a lot of these 4V blades back from Heat Treat. So these all need to be ground out. My big problem now is shit. I've run out of abrasives, really. The thing about these hard steels that no one tells you is that only the fresh belts work. And then once the belt kind of loses that aggressiveness, it's not really able to cut steel like this with all that vanadium, really, really high hardness. These are about 65, 66. It could be a little bit harder than the 65. You could see right here where the Rockwell was tested, or maybe not. That little divot right there was only tested once. This is the decarb on there, the scale from the factory. I didn't grind it off completely just because I had like eight of these guys to do before I sent them off to Heat Treat, and I didn't want to kill all my belts, so I had to be judicious. So who knows, you know, maybe surface these down a little bit more and see what we really got going on there. But let me tell you something, man. This is it takes a long time to turn this piece of shit into this guy right here. I mean, this takes a long time, you know. If anything even like touches or scratches that, I'd probably cry, you know, because that took a lot of time. It took a lot of soul, man. I really poured my soul into this one. It's funny too, because as a knife maker, I don't really get to keep them anymore, which makes me kind of sad because yeah, I almost don't want to put a handle on this one just because that means I get to keep it. You know, but yeah, we got to put a handle on that guy and get that guy sold so we can buy more brew. Ah, heck yeah, man. You know what? Another one of my favorite EDC knives is this Maximet knife, man. Yeah, this is. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I just got to make them one by one, and then sell them. You know, I don't like to do the whole like, oh, okay, like you guys put the money up and make them, and like, no, like the best way I found to make these fucking things where I make them really nice is if I just focus on just making one, make it the best I can, because I can't do perfect. I can only do my personal best. Make it the best I can, and then put it up for sale. And then after that one sells, just make the next one, you know? That's just, I found that was just the best way. I had another maker, he asked me, he's like, hey man, why don't you also do the, you know, the thing where everybody orders one and pre-orders and all that shit. I'm like, I can't fucking do it, man. It's like trying to take a piss and like somebody's like watching you or something like that. It's like, man, fuck. I can't pee. Stop looking, you know? It's the same kind of thing, dude. It's too much, man. The old K390 bottle opener. Yeah, this is still one of my favorite EDCs right here. I like that a lot, dude. Down the hatch, Mary Poppins! Woo! Yeah, man, so Yeah, huh? Yeah, that was a real foamer. So yeah, really excited about the 4V. Really excited to get this stuff in the blades. I think what was so exciting about 4V and not 10V and not the 3V is that this stuff seems to have that sweet spot of having a lot of strength, toughness, stability. Now listen, that's not going to be tough anymore at this geometry. But this is kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to make knives is I saw 4V had a lot of raw potential. And that, okay, well, you have this steel that has an insane combination of toughness and strength. What if you just take send you the invoice? Fuck, I love you, Peter. You're like you're my best customer, man. I like this. I like Peter. If you guys want to know how to be my best customer, just fucking talk to Peter, because he just makes me want to make shit and sell it just to him. So, but the reason why I like this 4V steel is, like I was saying, it's got the ultimate combination of the strength and toughness. Now, there's some other things I like in other steels more. I think other steels just take a lot more of aggressive edge. I think other steels have a lot more, stain resistance, definitely. Some of them just, other steels seem like they sharpen a little bit easier. Some steels will cut longer. But the sweet spot for this steel is take it, jack the HRC on it, do all the cryos, all that good stuff. And yeah, just take it and laser out that geometry. So just laser it out completely so it cuts like a fucking laser. And that's what I see. That's what I see in this steel. I'm going to be using a lot of the 4V. I like it a lot. It definitely has high hardness capability. It was able to reach stuff like 65, 66, 67 HRC. So my one problem with the 4V, problem you guys are going to run into, is that once you go past about 64 HRC in this material, man, it's not going to sharpen very well with ceramic. In fact, what it's going to do is it's going to squeegee your ceramic stones. So my whole reasoning with getting into all these fucking exotic custom sharpening stones that I've been working on is just so that you can max out the potential I see in this 4V. And so it'll sharpen just like a regular knife on a regular stone with a very exotic, custom CBN, or even just any of the diamond bonded water stones that, even my friends are making. So yeah, I like this steel a lot. Now, this steel has a cousin. It's brought up a lot on forums and stuff like that. It has an evil twin, so to speak, which is this one. This is a mini trapper. This is my new model. I haven't offered this yet. It's a belt trapper. My idea with the belt trapper was, okay, why don't we take something like this mini trapper and shrink it down even more? And that's what we have here. This is the belt trapper. And right now, I need to sell some of these belt trappers so I can get the belt money to grind this guy out. This is back from heat treat. You can see we've got the hardness. It's only tested once right here in this area. You probably can't focus on that. Focus, you fuck. There we go. So this one's really cool. This guy right here is a mini trapper. This is in Venatus 4 Extra. Venatus 4 Extra is basically the Böhler Udelholm version of 4V, third gen particle metallurgy. And this one's actually sitting at 67 HRC. So this is going to be a fucking monster to grind out and finish. I mean, I don't even want to think about it. But Venatus 4 Extra, maybe some advantages, maybe just scuttlebutt is that, possibly better at finer edge holding. I mean, who the fuck knows? I haven't actually played with Venatus 4 Extra, especially not at the geometry I'm going to do on it, and especially not at any 67 HRC. That's going to be knuckin' futz. So, yeah. Yeah, so this one, I mean, these got the same fucking heat treat, but this one poked up to 67, so it's like, holy fuck. I would love to, I'd love to buy more of this material, but it's just it's so gnarly. Yeah, if there was a way to get it, I think about 70 is the limit right now with current alloys. Once you go past 70, it seems like the trade-off is just too extreme even for me, you know, dare I say it. Unless there's some kind of alloy or material in the future. It's just, I don't know, I think 70 is the cap for now. And so right now the idea with hardness is okay, we'll find the best blend of attributes. Yeah. I'll use 1080. Get the fuck out of here. I'm just kidding, dude. So yeah, I'm really excited about the Venatus 4 Extra and this guy being 67. You know, I'm gonna sell these other belt trapper guys here and get the money needed for the belts to get this guy ground out. And I'm not gonna fuck around on this guy. You know, it's about 100, 150 thou on that stock, so fairly thick compared to the 100 thou stock I usually use on most of the other mini trappers. But I'm gonna grind this thing so fucking thin it's not even gonna matter. So this is gonna be really exciting. I'm stoked about this right here. So very cool. Yeah, so excited about the 4V Venatus 4 Extra project that I have. Also another model I have in these is this right here, the classic, the tried and true, the Little Bear. This is an excellent, just kind of drop point, no bullshit knife. It's going to be ground super, super thin. Very excited about that. Yeah. Because it's about 100 thou. I don't want to grind it before heat treat because I don't want to fuck with any warps or anything like that or any complex twists in the bevel. So no, too thin. It's too thin, I feel. And with the heat treat that this goes through, I don't want to deal with the complications that would cause. So it's fine. Just buy more fucking belts. Just buy more belts. It's fine. I care about the finished result. I don't care about being the most efficient. I can never make the volume a production company can do. So why the fuck would I try? Why would I try? My job is to make the best. Okay, that's what I can do. I can make the best. Other people, they can do volume. They can do pre-grinds. They can do all that shit. No, I'll save that for them. So yeah, I'm really excited about those. Really stoked. Up in the pipeline is going to be, I'll show you guys what's in the pipeline here. I'm really excited about this right here. This is CPM 10V, and I haven't actually gotten this heat treated yet because I'm waiting. My good buddy Laren Thomas at knifeskillnerds.com. If you guys don't support him on Patreon, I mean, what are you waiting for? Help a brother out. Go support Laren Thomas on Patreon because he puts out a lot of great information. Yeah. Nah, I'm just not really interested really in the bushcraft shit right now. And that'll probably change as time goes on, but I like the flat grind stuff. I think it's sexier and it cuts better. So I don't know, the woodcraft stuff, I'm not as interested in that right now. The future could change, you know. It's real hoppy, you know, it's got a real citrusy. But yeah, really excited about the 10V, really excited about getting this stuff. This is going to be incredible high hardness. I had no idea that 10V could operate at 67 HRC as well, just like the 4V, but it'll offer you a lot more strength, wear resistance, aggression. So I'm excited about this. It won't be for everybody. When the time comes, I mean, I'm right now, my way of getting into folding knives has been doing the regrinds shit. So that's what I've been doing. I don't have all the complex tools and shit. You know, I'm not really like super into like numbers and stuff like that. How my brain works is I see something, I make it with my hands. So I don't feel like that's very conducive to making folders. There is a regrind in the pipeline right now. I saw how much you guys liked that native LC200N, which was a fucking sweet knife. But now I'm gonna do a Maximet regrind. So this will be fun for you guys. We're gonna fucking laser grind this knife, you know. Probably shouldn't. Probably should definitely screen whoever gets this one because Maximet at you know, incredible geometry is gonna be less forgiving than the LC200N. But you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, if you build it, they will come. So we're gonna take this Maximet knife and oof, man, is that gonna be exciting to have this laser ground, you know, drop this bitch. What up, dog? What's going on, Loaded? Yeah. Oh yeah, I have some Crewwear at heat treat right now. I like it a lot. You know, it's just definitely getting kind of fucking crowded. It's getting crowded, man. There's a lot of really good steels. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna regrind this one, and so I'm gonna also, you know, I wasn't sure what color I wanted. I got this emerald Rit dye. Let's dye that fucking gray something though, huh? I got emerald, and I still have some more aquamarine left. So I was thinking, like, man, what should I do? Maybe, I don't know. I think I want to do the aquamarine. I think that gray might have like a really cool, like, steel gray color or something like that, or steel blue color. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Nah, Fox Delight 6K. I think it's stupid. Sleipner, I don't know, D2. Not interested in it. I'm not interested in Sleipner, Baycut, any of that stuff. Just not as, I'm not as entertained by it because one, it's hard to get to. The working hardnesses are very low, so you have to like spend a lot of research and time to figure out how to get that stuff harder. And then I would have to pay such a premium to order that Sleipner steel or the Baycut from Europe that there's I'm making these one by hand, so there's just better steels to work with, better steels that offer more. Like, why would I use Sleipner when I can use Cruwear? You know, why use Sleipner when I can use 4V? So things like that. So Sleipner doesn't offer me anything compared to what I'm using right now. So I don't care about it. As somebody that loves blade steel, sure, I'd love to try a piece of it. But unfortunately, I've spent all my money already on the steels I have and research for the heat treats that I'm doing. So no, there's no Sleipner steel for the foreseeable future. Unless it falls in my lap, it's just not going to happen. I'm investing money in research into other steels that I feel like have more potential and more synergy and more performance. So no Sleipner. Prost! Man, that's hoppy. Woo! The old K390 bottle opener. Woo! I don't know what the fuck is American carbon steel. You know, I mean, Swedish carbon steel can be a lot of shit. It's like kitchen knife shit, man. It's good. Not everything's got to be some Gucci steel. I mean, realistically, it's the geometry that cuts, anyways. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, fucking K390 Mafia, dude. I don't know. Just depends on the context, Sean. It's got to be in the right context. Swedish steel and a kitchen knife with a good heat treat and excellent geometry. I'd rock that. Yeah. Yeah, I like the LC200N a lot. I think it's a fantastic steel. I think that initially I was very skeptical of it because the working hardness is so low. You know, working hardnesses you're seeing in production now are probably like 58, 59 max. You know, it's very difficult, as it turns out, to get it all the way up to 60 HRC, and it's capped there. What's interesting, though, is that the Zap is a company that makes it. The Zap spec sheet shows that it can operate down at a 61 HRC. You know, if you follow the protocol that they show there for, you know, this austenizing temperature and this temper with the cryo and stuff, but it seems like people aren't able to get that. And I haven't really like pushed it further, but I've got a really good friend actually by the name of Chad Kelly, and he's also a custom knife maker. And he's been telling me that, yeah, it's capped at a ceiling. And here's the thing about the LC200 as well. Man, it just takes and holds a really nice edge. Yeah. It's probably anywhere from like 58, 59. I don't have a Rockwell hardness custom machine. Fucking support my Patreon and I'll get one. But yeah, I mean, Vinny Nero was nice enough to loan me knife making guilds. I don't even know what the fuck that is. No, I haven't joined any fucking knife making guilds. I don't even know what that is. Fuck that shit. So Vinny Nero has been kind enough to loan me this LC200N Spider Chef, and it's been kind of fun to play around with. The blade kind of hurts my fucking eyes to look at. Yeah. action is nice. You know, lockup is decent. I think if you're a super frame lock nerd, then maybe that's not enough lockup. You know, I think frame lock nerds like it more like this. But if it's like this, that's probably too much for them. But I don't give a shit about any of that. The wire clip is nice. You know, the blade shape definitely hurts my eyes. I don't like that at all. You know, but the steel is fucking bomb. For a production knife, it's fairly thin, but it could be thinner. I think that this knife could be thinner. I think the one benefit, the one attribute that LC200N has is that it's incredibly stable. It's incredibly stable. I mean, I'm not gonna. It's not tough like 3V. It doesn't have that kind of toughness, but it has an incredible amount of stability, and it seems like it holds a better edge than something like 3V. 3V just, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of 3V. I think 3V offers a lot of raw toughness, but when it comes to incredible edge performance, you sacrifice that for something like 3V to get all that shock resistance. So the LC200N has a lot of benefits of having a lot of really nice edge toughness. You know, the edge itself being really tough and stable, more prone to rolling than any kind of chipping and breaking. So I do enjoy it, and it's incredibly easy to sharpen. You know, with my personal testing, I found the edge holding to be anywhere between CPM 154 and, you know, VG10, except it had more benefit when it came to the edge performance, and that it was much easier to sharpen. The steel is basically rust proof, which is insane. I don't give a shit about the rust proof ability of any steel. I want edge performance first. That's my number one thing. But for the common man, LC200N is a fucking fantastic steel. Its only problem is that it's expensive. And I would like to see a higher working hardness, but at the same time, there are some attributes to that, you know, because of the hardness of where it's at, where it's kind of, like we talked about, it's capped at that hardness. You know, it's fucking rust proof. It's easy to sharpen and easy to touch up. So yeah, I like this stuff. You know, that's why I reground that knife, is because I didn't see that knife as a Salt series knife. I saw that as a high edge performance knife. Yeah. Not really, Sean, because it'll rust. It'll rust. Here in America, here the common man appreciates something that doesn't rust. You know, the common man just, there are stories of people throwing away their knives because they got rusty and they threw them away. Yeah. But the LC200N is rust proof. Yeah. Yeah, so it's, the LC200N should not be written off. This should not be written off as some type of fucking, like, you know, scuba steel or something lame like that. Like, this is actually a high performance edge steel, and I'm going to be using this in knives for sure. Yeah, I do like a rich patina, I do admit. But in fact, if you look at my Rex, or excuse me, my Maximet knife that's been through fucking hell for all the stupid shit I was showing you guys on YouTube, that's got a nice rich patina going on there. Look at that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be using LC200N steel. I think it has a lot of merit to it. I think some people enjoy that kind of balance it offers. Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff. I really enjoy that. Speaking of what do you guys think of these? These are the Para 3 scales. I dyed these that aquamarine color. It turned out like a baby blue. What do you think? Is that cool or is that lame? I thought it looked kind of cool. I don't know. Takes a certain guy, I guess, to appreciate that. It's a little feminine looking. It's unique. Looks like something bitch bad. Fuck you. Oh shit. Speaking of handle materials, got this from my Canadian brother up north, which is really cool. You know, I appreciate that. He's a custom micarta maker. His name is True North Micarta, Yeah. So what's cool about this micarta is that it's made out of fucking fire hose. How badass is that? So this is like he dyed this one blue and it's got blue liner, so it's gonna look awesome. And then this one, sorry dudes, but these colors were so fucking groovy looking. I just thought that would look insane on a knife, because what I'll do is I'll make the lines follow the curve of the handle, so that's just gonna look so cool, man. And if you notice, what this is it's like a light green, orange, and then it's got a green. And so what this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, man. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So the darker green, that's the shell, and then the orange, it's Michelangelo, man. It's a party dude. So yeah, I'm really excited about how these are going to turn out. I realize that these are very polarizing handle scales that people are, look at that and be like, that looks fucking stupid or whatever. That's too much. It's over the top. But fuck it. I figure it's one of those things where look at the grind on some of these knives. These are like sporty grinds, So kind of need some sporty like race car colors on some stuff, but don't give up hope on me. I'm a firm believer in some earthy colors as well, so I just want to play around with some brighter colors too. So I just thought those were pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty stoked about those, man. Pretty stoked about those. So this right here, this is a prototype knife. This isn't mine. I didn't make this. This was made for me. So a very good friend of mine made this for me, and this is made in a special steel. And it's very nice of him to do that because, when you're a custom knife maker, you don't actually get knives. You're kind of fucked if you want to be a custom knife maker and you like knives, because by becoming a custom knife maker, it means that you don't get knives. You just get the privilege of making them. As soon as you make them, you sell them, and they're fucking gone. And you live from knife to knife, I guess, and you just struggle to pay your bills or whatever. It kind of fucking, it sucks a little bit, but I guess there is kind of some honor in knowing that what you're making wouldn't exist without you doing it, so that's pretty cool. But this is something really fancy, really special, and it's a prototype, so this isn't the actual true design that he had intended for his knife, but this was basically the first Tulacoat knife. This is by maker Chad Kelly, and if you ever get one of these, if you're lucky enough to ever fucking get one of these in the future, because it doesn't make that many, and the design is completely changed from this right here. But this is kind of the first version of it. So they're not this long. They're definitely much shorter, but you can see this fucking guy. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. Look at this guy's work, man. Nickel silver, Corby bolts on there. He's got the toxic green. Oh fuck, yeah, this is something really special. Yeah, he got this to me too. This is just for me, So very cool. This is actually in Vanix Super Clean, and this knife probably means more than me than anybody in the world. This is a very special knife to me. So Vanix Super Clean 60 HRC. Maker is Chad Kelly down in California, and he's my favorite maker right now. He's just fucking amazing, dude. I love his work. He inspires me to be a better maker. We kind of met each other because cut nails. Like, oh, fuck you, Sean. Every time I talk to him, he just makes me want to be a better maker. He's just such an inspiration to me. And so it's really cool that I have like a piece of him. Like it's something that you can see that hand satin finish he put on this, man. And just Vanix, it just takes such an incredible finish. It's such a wonderful steel. This is probably the most balanced steel you can get is the Vanix Super Clean. There's all these steels and they're all this kind of like all trade off. And listen, I'm a man of extremes. Like I like these steels because I see, okay, to get the most out of the steel, you got to play to its strength, avoid its weakness, and that's how you get the most synergy and performance with it. Vanix is never gonna, have as much strength as something like CPM 4V. It's never going to outcut something like Maximet. All right, it's still not even possibly going to be as wear resistant as something like M390. But all those other steels I just brought up have trade-offs. Vanix has the highest level of performance, with all the other attributes at the same level. And so quintessentially, it is, the most balanced steel you can get. The Vanix steel is actually stain proof. It's incredibly stable. Okay, so you don't have any, microchippy issues or whatnot with the steel. It's basically capped at 60 HRC. There are possibilities to go a little bit harder, but you don't really get as much, and you kind of trade off some of the balance that the Vanix offers. So it's kind of interesting. I think the one big complaint you see some high performance freaks talk about is kind of like LC200N. It is stuck at 60 HRC, but what it offers you is a lot more wear resistance. It has a lot more vanadium inside the steel. Yeah, so this steel, the vanadium inside of it, it's not making a vanadium carbide, which is fascinating. It's making a vanadium nitride, which is a very hard phase particle inside the steel. It works just like a carbide, but it seems to kind of have a lot more harmony inside the matrix. It doesn't have as much detriment in my personal experience. And when it comes to using this knife and really fucking torquing on it. Yes, I've torqued on this blade, yeah. He made this one really, really thin too. Right? Yeah, so this is really cool. Chad Kelly, he's pretty much the father of Vanix steel because he was one of the first people in the country to work with the metallurgist at Uddeholm. Uddeholm is a company that makes this, which is a Swedish company. They're partnered up with Böhler, which is an Austrian company. And yeah, so this is really cool. He was kind of one of the first guys, I believe in Blade Magazine had interviewed Chad Kelly about the heat treatment of it, and I believe he has an excerpt in there about it as well. So very cool maker. I really look up to Chad Kelly. I think he's just phenomenal. I don't have anything but good stuff to say about it. What do you think about Rockstead knives? Also, friction forged technology D2 bullshit. I don't even know what the fuck that is. I'm gonna say bullshit. At the end of the day, fucking still D2, so why would I give a shit about it? Rockstead knives? Okay. I've never had one. So I feel like everybody's favorite steel would be Vanix Super Clean. And everybody's like, oh, where the fuck were the knives in it? Where's all the knives with the Vanix Super Clean? And the reason why you don't see it, this shit is expensive. This steel is really expensive, man. In fact, I feel like this steel actually costs more than Rex 121. So it costs more than Maximet. So this steel is really, really expensive. And the reason why is not because they're being assholes, but because it's actually really hard to get all that nitrogen inside the steel. And so that's really what costs you a lot of money. What they have to do is they have to take the steel. They take the powder from it's a PM steel, it's a PM nitrogen steel. They take all that powder, and essentially what they do is they nitride the powder. They put nitriding on all the little particles. And then they hip it back together. It's hot isostatic pressure where they basically condense it back and then hot roll it. So adding that nitriding step inside there, and it's also PM steel, and also having a lot of nitrogen inside the steel, because nitrogen doesn't want to be inside the steel. That makes this a very fucking exotic steel. It makes it a very incredibly expensive steel. But when it comes to stuff where it's like, man, I wish they made a knife steel that was, stainless, stain proof, that was really tough at the edge itself, actually had a lot of wear resistance to it, but it was still easy to sharpen. I think that's what everybody's kind of looking for. That's Vanix. And so that's what Vanix offers you. While a lot of nerds like me would be like, man, I wish it was harder. I wish this stuff got harder. That would be a trade-off for the toughness, okay? Be a trade-off for the toughness. So the most balanced steel in the world as of 2019. This steel's new too, by the way. This is a new Vanix formula that replaced the Vanix 35 and the Vanix 75. They call this in Europe, they call this Vanix 37. But here in the US, we just call it Vanix. And Vanix, it's called Vanix Super Clean on the spec sheet. So I and myself and some other people have been calling it Vanix Super Clean to kind of avoid the confusion. But maybe in the next few years, people just drop the Super Clean and just call it Vanix. Yeah, it is like LMAX. In fact, it cuts a little less than LMAX at 60 HRC. It essentially cuts about the same as LMAX at 60 HRC. And so there's a cool video we'll put up in the future where we show you guys some Laren Thomas at KnifeSteelNerds.com made a really cool video talking about some calculations for Katra testing, and he has a cool formula that we'll plug in, and we'll teach you guys how to use it too. It's on his website, and it'll teach you guys how to essentially use that formula to see how much theoretical cuts you'll get inside of a Katra machine, which is something that locks your blade in and puts these abrasive cards in there, and it'll kind of take out a lot of variables. It doesn't take out all the variables, and it'll show you theoretically how long a knife steel will cut, you know, at a certain geometry and edge finish and all that stuff. But we'll get into that in another video. So yeah, you get a lot of the benefits of LMAX, except it's tougher than LMAX, and it's stain proof. So it's tougher than LMAX, it's stain proof, and it's easier to sharpen, and it cuts almost just as much as LMAX. So the steel's incredible. And in fact, our friends at Damasteel is a Swedish company that makes a lot of very fancy powdered Damascus, which is like mind-blowing. Like, man, how the fuck do you make powdered Damascus? It's crazy, but they do it. And they actually have a steel called N11X. And essentially what it is it is also Vanix Super Clean, and it is, you know, there's kind of this big community with Swedish steel companies, and they basically say, we will always work together and always cooperate to help each other. And so you have a Dama core of N11X, which is essentially the Vanix 37 or Vanix Super Clean, which is this new steel. And then it's got an outer core of some other stuff. But that's some really exciting stuff. That should be really cool. And it still has all that balance properties that you have here. And it'll outcut the RWL 34. This will outcut CPM 154. And I did some testing on this steel, the Vanix steel, with Phil Wilson. If you guys watched that Phil Wilson video, we did the rope cut testing, and we saw that how this steel stacked up is essentially it outcut the CPM 154. You know, 62 or 60. So the steel is very exciting. The Vanix steel is very exciting. It's not the end all be all if you want the fucking ultimate performance. Ultimate performance is ultimate trade-off. So you guys are just going to have to get that in your head. And see, because I understand that, that's why I use these steels. This 4V steel will fucking smoke Vanix when it comes to the raw performance. But the trade-offs you sacrifice for that are going to be more than some people can bear. This will be a lot more difficult to sharpen. And when I say a lot, it might be too much for some people to bear. This steel will rust. This steel, it feels like glass on ceramic stones. So ceramic stones are not an option anymore, you know. And then the high hardness. The trade-off for all of that bullshit, if you're interested in high performance edges, is that this will have a lot more strength. This will hold that edge longer. It'll hold a crisper edge, hair whittling edge, longer than the Vanix Super Clean. Yeah, so I will not just use Vanix Super Clean because it doesn't. This is certain users will love this more than anything. Certain users will love the 4V more than anything. If there's one thing you should get on this channel is that there is no best steel. That it's always just about finding the best. It's always just about finding the best blends of trade-offs to synergize your preferences and whatever you're using it for. So that's kind of the idea with it. But this knife is very special. Chad Kelly, knowing me, this is the maker of this knife, he ground this one extra thin. He will never grind a Vanix knife this thin for anybody. So he ground that just for me. And again, his actual design is going to look a lot different than this. It's called the Tolocoat. And it's going to be a lot shorter of a blade. He's going to have a really badass sheath system. There's one thing you have to understand about Chad Kelly. The most important thing to Chad is the design. And Chad, he spends like an incredible, he could probably spend about 6 hours with me on the telephone telling me about the design and all the different features and things like that. So the dude is a fucking legend. He's just a total shadow warrior. You guys don't know anything about him, but you know, you will in the next few years. You're gonna know all about Chad Kelly. And yeah, his fucking Kydex. This is actually Holstacks, which is a company similar to Kydex, but they offer these really fucking cool patterns. It's like carbon fiber and shit. And yeah, pretty sweet. So this is something special to me. This is something I've been using and enjoying, and it's really nice because as a knife maker, I don't get shit. So it's nice that I have something for me, you know, as a knife maker, that I actually get a fucking sweet blade too. So since I have to just make them, fucking sell them. So, woo! Ah! Any of you pussies drinking beer? God damn. Woo! Foam City. Can you get a hair splitting edge on the KME? Man, listen, dude. Oh, dude, you gotta do this. You gotta strop that. You gotta fucking do this. Oh, man, I'll tell you the secret to it. Well, you need our new system. Well, here's what you need. You need the Magic Fuck-O-Matic sharpening system. Listen, doesn't fucking matter. It's you, the sharpener, that makes the edge sharp. It's not the fucking system. It's not the bullshit. The reason why I do freehand is just because I just cut out all the shit. It's just the abrasive stone, and I just take the principles I understand, the dexterity, the hand-eye coordination, execution, follow through with the principles, trial and error, critical thinking, you know, sit there and follow through with the process, troubleshoot it, get the fucking thing sharp. It's not about if you have the KME, or if you got the Magic Fuck-O-Matic stone, or whatever the fuck you need. Like, cut the bullshit out. You don't need any of that stuff. It does get to a certain point where if you want a really high performance, you know, if you're really discerning and you're really looking for something very specific, yeah, you're going to need to get a little nicer stones. I mean, I can't sharpen the sharpest knife possible on a fucking sidewalk curb, but yeah. So can you get a knife sharp off a KME? Yes, you can get it sharp off a KME, an XME, 3cc, whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, you can get it sharp. Yeah. Woo! Pull through sharpeners. Only if you want to make fun of people that actually like sharp edges. So this is a piece of Nitro V. This is a 64 HRC. Now this steel, it's like, it looks like basic bitch steel on the composition. You know, it looks a lot like AUBL with a little smidgen of vanadium and a little pinch of nitrogen added to it. The nitrogen in this steel is not anything like fucking insane. It's not like LC209 where it has a lot of nitrogen. It's not like Vanix where they actually have to nitride the patterns and all that bullshit. This is just simply an air melt steel. And from my talks with Thomas, who was the Buderus representative from Austria, who New Jersey Steel Baron had brought to Blade Show West, I got a chance to talk to him. And yeah, essentially this was an air melt with blow-by nitrogen, and it's the chromium content in this steel that allows it to be very soluble inside of the iron. Because you gotta listen, you gotta understand, nitrogen is not highly soluble inside of iron. It's not like carbon. Carbon seems to have a lot more of an affinity for being inside of the iron. Nitrogen, not so much. So it really has to be forced inside of the steel, which is interesting. Yeah. Where to start with hand sharpening? That's a really good question because, listen, listen, I know where you guys are coming from. I completely understand and I completely sympathize with you guys because I wasn't born a sharpener. I wasn't born some fucking Greek god at being able to sharpen stuff, this and that. And yeah, I like to show off on the YouTube channel and show you guys, oh, look how fucking sharp all this stuff is. But I've been sharpening for, God, like fucking 9 years now, 8 years now. And I mean, really going at it, like really just like, man, I'm just going to keep sharpening. I'm going to keep trying to get really, really good at this. I'm going to keep pushing this. And so how do you get started? Well, the best way to get started is just get a shitty knife, get a shitty stone and do it. You know, I think everybody thinks, and myself included, I remember when I was new, I couldn't afford all the really fucking cool stones. Look at me now. I mean, I have a most incredible stone collection you can think of. I have custom stones, CBN stones you can't even buy, you know, and when I was new, I thought, man, what's holding me back? Why can't I do this? Why can't I get my stuff so sharp? And I kept thinking to myself, like, man, I need to look at all this crazy gear. I need to read on all the fucking forums and stuff like that. No, you don't need to do any of that stuff if you want to get stuff sharp. What you need to do is you just need to concentrate some time on doing it. Just get like a cheap knife and a cheap stone and fucking do it. You know, we are what we do. We aren't what we say. We are what we do. And so if you want to be better at sharpening, fucking do it. You know, stop fucking wasting your time, you know, nerding out on all these little idiosyncrasies that don't even matter, you know. So just fucking do it. And then once you start to get some experience, once you start to get some talent, some skill at it, that's when you can kind of start looking at, okay, I need some better stones to synergize what I'm doing. Listen, people think that just because I'm trying to make all these special fancy CBN stones, or that I promote all of these very exotic sharpening stones, that I'm like a super snob and that like, oh, the only way you can get a knife sharp is with these stones. No, man, fucking bullshit. What happens is you get to a certain point with your sharpening that you do need those nicer stones to enhance your experience, you know. You do need those stones to enhance experience, but your average person, your person who doesn't know anything and is just wanting to get started with it, you just need a stone and a shit knife, and you need to practice, understand the mechanics of it, build the muscle memory, build the dexterity of the hand. This is funny because it takes zero talent to have good work ethic. You know, it takes zero talent to show up to work on fucking time. It takes zero talent to just put your fucking time in, you know, to really just be very critical of what you do and try to do your personal best at whatever you try, and just sit there and practice and all that stuff. And pretty soon what happens is people say, hey, man, you look like you're really talented at all that stuff. It doesn't always come naturally, you know. I was never a natural sharpener. It took me a lot of work to get to where I was today. So don't think that you need to be some kind of like fucking superhuman person or any of that stuff. When you see somebody's results with anything they do, whether it's this shiny, beautiful knife that you see or the beautiful edges that are created, you don't see the hardships and the time spent doing the sharpening, the time spent, no, guys, I'm not going out tonight. No, we're not going to go travel, you know, this weekend or do all this really fun stuff. I'm going to stay and I'm going to sharpen. I'm going to stay. I'm going to focus on this. So we are what we do as people. And so you're not what you read. You're not what you say. You are what you do. So if you want to be better, fucking do it. Boost! Ah! Woo! Are we got any steel questions or anything? Come on, man. Let's talk about steel. Talk about sharpening. Recommend dining or this and that. I mean, I just told you it doesn't matter when you're just getting started, man. Just fucking get something and sharpen. All right. You can worry about the details when you start to build and when you're looking for something very specific for a certain skill. What is 20 CV good for? It's good for a knife. What do I think of S35EN? S35, people ask, you're asking me in a context of what do I think of what you can buy in S35EN? What I think you can buy in a production knife in S35EN is hot garbage. What I think the potential of S35EN is for somebody that can take that steel and heat treat it very high performance, put a very high performance grind on it, I think that has a lot of potential because of the niobium content in there. Laren from Knife Skill Nerds, man, he put an excellent article about how niobium works inside of the steel, and I thought that was really fascinating. Because there's all these arguments about how, oh, niobium is better than vanadium, or vanadium is better than niobium. And listen, you just don't see that much niobium, and so it just sounds sexier, it sounds cooler. But niobium, as it turns out, is Laren's like life work, and he's going to be having a really cool, very high niobium-rich steel available. We don't know when that's coming, but that should be really fucking cool when that does happen, and I'm definitely going to have to make some knives out of that. But the advantage to S35EN is it does have niobium. The problem is any knife you can buy that has S35EN, I don't think it's that great, you know, and I just think it just comes down to the heat treat and geometry that you can get it in. I think that if you get from a certain custom maker, I don't want to name any names here, but if you can get from a certain fucking custom maker who's got some bees on the blade, then yeah, you can probably get a lot of raw performance out of it. M39, what was the question again? Ask me again. S110V has some niobium too, yeah, but I don't know. I think that S110V might just be overshadowed by what you can get in S125V. So as a maker, as somebody that has to painfully make these knives by hand, I'm not going to use S110V right now. I'm going to focus on S125V when it comes to a very high wear-resistant stainless steel for a variety of reasons. Just my experience with sharpening it, the S125V was sexy as fuck. I didn't think that that steel was going to be incredible. I thought it was going to be very chippy, micro-chippy and brittle. And I thought it was going to be an extreme trade-off, but S125V seems to be like where it's at. You know? No, I find with my experience that the S35EN was just kind of gummy. It fought me on its path to getting a really crisp apex. Once I got a really crisp apex on S35EN, it was nice, but it just went like this very quick. Go from really sharp to this. I can't see what this looks like, but I know when I cut something and when it loses this really high crispness, it's just not, it just kind of, so it kind of annoys me. That material just kind of annoys me. What it means is really high performance heat treat and a really high performance geometry. And then it'll be interesting. I have actually a big sheet of S35EN, and I definitely plan on maximizing that niobium content inside there. Because I was reading, you know, Laren, he's like the niobium fucking master. It's also known as columbium. You know, the U.S. has been stockpiling it, and they called it columbium, but Europeans, they call it niobium, and that's kind of a name that caught on, so people forgot about it, the fact that it was called columbium. But the niobium, it has a lot of attributes compared to the vanadium. It does have some drawbacks, but it seems like the drawbacks come from people that misunderstand how to use it. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with carbon steel, man. I mean, I'm still going to make knives out of 52100. You know, I'm still going to make knives out of 01. Still going to make knives out of 1095. So it just comes down to, listen, guys, the steel names are fucking dead. It comes down to heat treatment and geometry. Heat treat, geometry. Okay? That's it. So I don't want steels compared the same. You know, if Big Brown Bear comes out in a knife in 52100, I don't want to compare to anybody else's 52100. It's not the fucking same. I have it at a different geometry and a different heat treat. So don't even compare it. It's different, you know. When you are a maker, you get the ability to choose what heat treats and geometries you want to use to kind of synergize certain knife performances to suit certain preferences within those contexts. So you really get a lot more options. You guys that are watching that have to purchase knives that don't make them, you don't get those options. You're at the mercy of whatever you can get your hands on. Yeah. What do you mean by geometry? What I mean by geometry is that the thinner the blade goes, the better it cuts. It's a trade-off though, because if you use your knife like a fucking idiot, then you don't get thin geometry. You get thick geometry because that'll hold up better. We're talking both. It's both. The behind the edge thickness just gives you superior cutting ability. It doesn't actually increase your sharpness. The sharpness is decided by your apex. So you can have something that's incredibly thin behind the edge, but then your apex can be too thick. It's the combination of the two that synergizes the really high performance. And realistically, when it comes to knives, geometry is everything. Everything. You want the toughest fucking knife in the world? Thick. You want the best cutting knife in the world? Thin. The only thing you're getting when it comes to steel is basically how long it'll cut at those geometries. That's it. So we have people obsessing way too much over what the steel is and not obsessing enough about, holy fuck, the most important fucking thing, the geometry. How thick it is, how thin it is. What will work the best for what you're trying to use the knife for. You want the knife to work the best? This is Zach's Benchmade Puko, 300 Puko and 3V. Thick. This will be incredibly durable. That's why I chopped a nail with the Benchmade Puko. It's very durable because of the geometry, not because of the magic steel or the magic heat treat. Geometry is first, then the heat treat, then the steel. Now, you can't heat treat a steel beyond what it is. The steel is intrinsic. It has intrinsic qualities based on what the chemistry of the steel is and the structures it can form. It's just you have this range of heat treats for a specific steel. So you can play around with them a little bit, but it doesn't change what the fucking steel is. It's still, if you make a knife out of 52100, it's never going to outcut a knife in 10V. This is still 52100. This is still 10V. The properties of these steels are intrinsic to what the chemistry is. There's no avoiding it. Hollow grind versus flat grind. It's completely fucking irrelevant to behind the edge thickness. All that decides for you is with a hollow grind, you can go thicker on the blade and not have it thick in as you sharpen up the blade. A knife wears away like this. So as you sharpen up the blade, it wears away like this. Don't give me any bullshit about, oh, a knife should last forever, this and that. A knife only lasts forever if you're not using the fucking thing. If you're sharpening your knife, you should be wear away. All of these knives I make, I don't want these to make it to the next generation. Because if you are appreciating my knife, you're fucking using my knife, you're sharpening my knife, and it should wear away. There's a funny story about that too, because the best blades, the best swords that were used back in antiquity, they don't really know what those look like because they were used up. They were broken in battle. They were sharpened away. Most of the blades that people see now that are in museums and stuff like that, the balance was off. The blade was off. Nobody used it, so nobody wore the blade out in battle. Nobody wore it out. So if you're using a knife, you fucking wear it out. Look at my Manix 2. Look how fucking worn out this knife is. I'm using this thing. It's getting worn out. Okay? You see somebody who gives you a review in a Manix 2 and it doesn't look like dog shit like this one? How can you trust what they're saying? They're not using the knife. So if you use the knife, it wears away. And the reason why hollow grind is interesting is because you can have a thicker blade and it doesn't thicken behind the edge as you sharpen. It will thicken, but it doesn't thicken as much as a flat grind. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, this Manix has got some fucking character. I mean, this is the one that basically, everybody was talking fucking shit about Manix, and or not the Manix, Maximet. Maybe I've had a few too brew here, but everyone was talking shit about Maximet, and I had to hey, well, let's get this little fucker and let's put it to work. And this is probably one of my most prized blades. I didn't even put a regrind on it, and I put my label on there just because me and this knife have been through hell and back. Me and this Manix 2 and Maximet have been through hell and back, and this thing is a fucking survivor with all the shit I put it through. All the people talking shit about Maximet and saying it's crap and all this stuff, and this knife was just like the living proof that the steel is capable. All I wanted to say was that the steel is sufficient. It's fine. It's just the user. It's how people are sharpening the steel. It's how people are using the steel that will decide if people can handle it. I make knives out of Maximet. I'll make knives out of Rex 121. I enjoy these steels. They're not for everybody. They're not for everybody. Okay? There's an extreme trade-off. Extreme performance, extreme trade-off. That's it. With Maximet, Rex 121, you're going to have to invest in better stones. You can't fuck around with any low-quality stones. I showed you guys all my experience with Maximet. Any questions about Maximet? Listen, it's kind of fucking insulting because I have so many videos about this knife right here that I spent my fucking hard-earned money on and put through hell for you guys. And I did that for you guys. And so go watch those videos if you have questions because I put my time into it. Yeah. How far do you think you could safely push geometry? It's user dependent. So the furthest you can probably push geometry is with everybody still being able to enjoy it, 15 thou. 15 thou and 17 degrees behind the edge is about the furthest you can push. And that's still with the ability, if you select the proper steel and heat treat, the ability to chop and nail, all that crap. So the problem is, why you don't see that on my knives is because you're leaving a lot of cutting performance on the table, okay? You're leaving a lot, okay? So when you see my testing on this channel and you see me do that shit where it's like, oh, he chopped a nail or oh, he do this, that tells me as a maker that I can go fucking thinner because the knives are designed to cut. They're not designed to chop nails. It's a knife. Look up the definition of what a knife is. A knife is to cut. It's not to chisel, to bludgeon, or all that stuff. It defeats the purpose of being a fucking knife at that point. So what are you getting? What do you want to spend your money on? What do you want to get? Because to be honest, it is a waste of my talent to make something incredibly tough. Because all that has to do is this. All I have to do is select a material with low alloy so it can absorb shock and then just fluctuate geometry. It doesn't take any talent on my end. It doesn't take my, exquisite sharpening skills. It doesn't take my knowledge of metallurgy, knowledge of, geometry, all of that shit. It doesn't require the best of me. So why the fuck would I invest what I have when I have to suffer, when I have to fucking kill myself to make these knives one by hand? Why would I do that? I don't fucking care about that shit. Anybody can do that. You want something you can't get because it costs too much money. Because we can't mass produce that because it costs too much. Oh, sorry, we don't have the workforce that has enough skilled labor to do that shit. So get shit like this that's made to cut and just use it better. Just stop using your knife like a fucking dipshit, and then you can enjoy something like this. Stop opening your cans with a fucking knife. Find a purpose for your knife. Don't have no purpose for your knife, so you're looking for stupid shit to use your knife with. And there you go. And then you can appreciate my work. Otherwise, I can't compete with people that make stuff super thick and durable because anybody can do that. It's a waste of my talent, Yeah, dude. I mean, you're probably fucked either way if your gun jams, but at least you go down fighting, you know. I think people forget how fucking strong bears are. They'll fuck you up pretty bad, you know. Ah! Ah! Woo! Woo! Fucking 52-100. Get a Maximet bottle opener, son. Oh. You guys want to see something really fucking cool? I said, do you guys want to see something really cool? Huh? Is anybody fucking there? Jesus. Okay. At least Andrew wants to see something really cool because I have lots to share. Okay, I have lots to share. And you guys, I don't know, I'm waiting for you guys to catch up here. Fuck. Jesus. So, holding on, you guys. Got a secret project. What the fuck is that? What's that? Tell me. Tell me what that is. Nope. Nope. What is that? What's that? Come on, fucking tell me what it is. What's this? A dirty orange? Nope. Closer though. At least somebody. Thank you. Fucking thank you, Horner. Horner. Listen. Rex fucking 45. Can I get a hell yeah? Ah, god damn. This steel is fucking impressive. Yeah. This steel is impressive. I feel like actually I haven't really made a lot of YouTube videos about it. Maybe I've just been posting in the forums all that. What do you think we're gonna do, Mike? What do you think we're gonna do with this? Given a man of my talent, what do you think? What do you think the brown bear's up to with this bullshit? Huh? Why would I spend my hard-earned money on this, knowing I probably can't afford it? What do you think? What do you think old brown bear's up to when he gets something like this? I mean, it's pretty thick behind the edge there. Put it on a diet. Regrind. Give it away to me. I like that. That's funny. We're gonna regrind this motherfucker. Yeah, we're gonna push this shit to the limit. This steel. First off, my hat's off to Spyderco because, man, they just have like big fucking balls, dude. They're just like, we're gonna push the hardness on this shit. You know, that's what Spyderco was thinking, which is unusual for a production company, right? I mean, usually they're just like, 60 HRC for everything is fine. You know, we don't want to deal with the bullshit. They took this shit. No custom heat treat, Mike, because this already has a good heat treat. These are like 65, 67, you know? These are fucking hard. These are impressive. So we're talking similar hardness to the Maximet, but a lot more stability. A lot more ease of sharpness. A lot more edge toughness. Yeah. These are fucking cool. These are really badass. What does one of those things cost? They're fucking expensive. They're hard to get. They're out of stock everywhere. That's why this is exciting. That's why I'm like, fuck, these guys would appreciate it if I showed them something like this. You know, they'd be like, oh, fuck, that's awesome. We're going to laser grind this son of a bitch. Yeah. Do the tip test on it, bro. Fuck, no. No, this thing would explode probably. No, go get some dipshit fucking super thick out the tip knife, you know, and then you can go do some tip testing. I'm really excited about this. This is really cool. Yeah, so stoked. Yeah, let's regrind this fucking son of a bitch. Should be awesome. So got this brand new. No nail cut test. I'll let you do that, Sean. I'll let you do that, bro. Yeah, so I'm really excited about their X45. I think the military, you know, if it's anything like the S110V when the S110V came out, you guys probably don't remember because some of you guys probably weren't even fucking interested in blades back in 2016. Rit dye. I haven't even thought about that actually, to be honest. I don't know what Rit dye color would work with this, and to be honest, I feel like the burnt orange is fucking hot. Yeah, I do like the burnt orange, so I don't think I would risk a Rit dye and making it look like dog shit. Because let's be real, dude. Rit dye, you don't know. You have no idea how this turns out. Rit dye is random. So I'm not changing the color on this. No, fuck that. I like the color too. Nah. Fuck you, Sean. I'm fucking red. Yeah, burnt orange is where it's at. So we're gonna laser grind this motherfucker. I'm gonna make this thing too thin for most people, and whoever gets it, who's a complete dipshit, he'll chip it out. I don't care. We're gonna go 5 thou on this guy, and I think I want to do something like fucking insane. Like I think I want to do 10 degrees per side. So I want to do 10 degrees per side, maybe even 8 degrees per side. We'll see how crazy I feel when I'm sharpening it. So I'm gonna sharpen this up. I'm going to sharpen it up to maybe 8 or 10 degrees per side. And then I'm going to go down to my 2x72. I'm going to regrind this motherfucker until it looks like that bevel is invisible. You won't even be able to see the bevel. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to put the silkiest. I don't care if my fucking arms fall off. I don't care if I run out of all the sandpaper in the world. I'm going to put a beautiful satin finish on this son of a bitch. And it's going to be 5 thou. 10 degree per side or 8 degree per side. We'll see how fucking crazy we feel. Yeah, this thing will laser through space and time. And for some people, it'll fucking explode as they're like, oh, I tried to open a can of beans with my fucking BBB regrind. Fucking retard alert. But for the person who knows how to use their shit properly, yeah, person who knows how to use their knife properly, they'll be like, yeah, dude. I've never had a cutting experience like that in my entire life. That is just insane. That is the craziest fucking thing I've ever used. I know that must have taken a lot of skill to grind that like that. Thank you, sir, Sean. And listen, dudes, it's not going to be cheap, okay? But you know what? How many of these are we going to make? What are we making, 1,000 of these? No. This will probably only make like one Rex 45. So, yeah, this will be crazy. Yeah. You got to realize the thickness behind the edge only matters what edge is it behind, you know? 8 thousandths behind a 15 degree per side is not as laser-like as 8 thou 10 degrees per side. You know, it's that much thinner if it's 8 degrees per side. So if anybody just says universally 10 thou is the best way, you, as the smart people that you are from watching this channel, always digging deeper, always asking more questions, your next question should be, well, what degrees per side is the edge at? You're telling me thickness behind the edge. What is the edge? You know, you should be asking those questions because there's huge differences you'll get between those things. That's been my experience too, because like we talked about earlier in this video, when we talked about edge behind the edge thicknesses, cutting quality, actual edge geometry, whether it's 15 degrees per side or 10 degrees per side, is essentially the lower the angle you go on your edge, the more acute it is, the better cutting performance you will get. And then you'll get less wedging if you're thinner behind the edge. Okay. It's one of those things that I don't talk about that much, because it's one of those things that I know that the lucky person that buys a knife like this, you'll cut something with it if you're cutting the appropriate thing. This will cut better than probably anything you can buy, and I've gotten some questions too. People are like, man, how the fuck do I sharpen that, Sean? Do I lay this whole blade flat on a stone and sharpen it that way? No, I've done all the work for you. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is sharpen it at whatever angle you need, and I'll tell you what angle the edge comes on or whatnot. But realistically, the angle changes depending on how you use your knife. If you're kind of a little bit more clumsy, go 15. If you're a really skilled user, go lower, because it would be that much sharper. Okay. And so something like this, you just sharpen it. The main bevel is a fucking micro bevel. So it's so much easier to sharpen an incredibly hard steel like this, because you don't have this fat fucking Scandi bevel to sharpen where you have to make contact with your shoulder all the way down to the apex. Most people suck at sharpening. I'm sorry, they do. And the wider you go with the bevel, it makes it more challenging to sharpen it consistently flat all the way from the shoulder of the bevel down to the apex, and they get a lot of convexing. Which is the death of an incredible cutting performance. It's a trade-off. This convex is more durable. This is always sharper. Okay, and you have these it's like arguing about religion, because people are like, well, actually, you can go thinner with the convex because it's more durable. And all they're doing is they're just changing the geometry of the convex to fit inside the flat rind. So it's like infinite. It never changes, It's insane. I'm sure when if I leave this live feed up, I'll get some fucking convex freaks in there that'll talk to me about, oh man, convexes. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. It's such a polarizing topic. That it's just endless. And listen, I plan on making some convex knives. Okay, I plan on making the B1 Bomber, which is going to be the first B1 Bomber is going to be an LC200N. And I'm going to convex it, because for the purpose, in the right context, a convex is excellent. Outside of its strength, it's detriment, because it will wedge too much. Listen, I launched this YouTube channel with the Feldknieven A1. This is my Feldknieven A1. This is one of my most prized knives. This is the first video I put up on this channel. Was this knife right here in 2015. Okay, it was 4 years ago. It was the first knife I put up. What is it? It's a convex grind. Okay? And this is excellent for what it's designed to do. But you can't use this for everything. It's too fucking thick. Okay? I won't convex everything, because it's garbage for if you want the highest cutting performance. It's garbage. Yeah. If you want some durability, but still kind of pushing the envelope with thinness, you want the convex. This is for bushcraft type stuff. Convex. And listen, I know Sean was asking me, dude, do you plan on doing that? Doing bushcraft type stuff? Yes. I was on a wilderness rescue team. I've been in the outdoors. I enjoy the outdoors. I love the outdoors. That's why I realized the only way to get true performance is with specializing. So listen, if you guys are absolute Big Brown Bear knife freaks, here's what you do. You get the smaller knife, or you get a trapper that's been laser ground. You save that for when you need laser light cuts. Then you get one of the fucking B1 Bombers when you want something that's just fucking made for manhandling stuff. Look, I love I like hard use knives. I do. Don't think that I just only like these little delicate, like laser ground type shits. It's trade off. Everything is trade off. You want the best performance. You don't get a jack of all trades. You have to select this kind of trade off. Okay? So carry two blades. Carry a thick blade and a small blade. All right? No big deal. I just sold a regrind lately. VG10. VG10. Super laser ground. I told the guy who bought it, I was like, listen, man, this knife you're buying is really, really fucking thin. He understood that. I mean, he's a smart guy, you know. He told me basically, like, listen, dude, I'm carrying like 3 blades on me. I have like 3 different knives on me. And the knife I get from you, Sean, I'm going to use that for when I need something to really cut something. Meanwhile, if I need to torque on something, I'll have a knife at thicker geometry to handle that. And I'll save your knife when I just need something cut really nice. And listen, how fucking cool is that guy going to be when he needs to cut something and he fucking pulls out my regrind in VG10 and just lasers through whatever he needs to cut very delicately that has that kind of precision, that laser type cutting performance. When somebody sees that, when one of his boys or whatnot sees that, they're going to be like, holy fuck, where did you get that thing from? You know, and they'll see the 3 Bs on there and they'll be like, damn, dude, that's pretty legit, you know? What they don't understand is that he only uses that knife for when he needs to really laser through something, you know, and then he's got other knives on him that are at more production geometries that need to be more robust. This needs to be robust. You just need to adjust the edge angle to get the sharpness. The problem is because it's so thick behind the edge, it just wedges. It's not an enjoyable cutting experience. Yeah. Did I cut the toilet paper? Yeah. Yeah. And listen, that's probably for another topic. You know, look, this is not a very intelligent business venture when it comes to making knives super thin, because the majority of the knife population, I'm a niche within a niche on this channel, because realistically, people can't fucking handle thin geometry. They can't. They need so much education and understanding of like the benefit of what they're getting that it's fucking rough, you know? And I'm banking my whole life on it. And so it's really interesting. We'll see what happens. You know, this knife is fucking really thin. This is Nitro V. I mean, this is so thin. I can flex the fucking edge with my fingernail a few beers in. I mean, this was the TP slicer, and there was no accident about what this knife was. You know, this was, what was it, like 8 degrees per side. The steel is something very low alloy that has a high attainable hardness, very stable microstructure. This is Nitro V. It's 64 HRC. I mean, of course I cheated. I can make the fucking knife, you know? It's not hilarious. Yeah. A real challenge would be if I can get it to slice TP if it was thicker and if it was some fucking god-awful steel at super softness, you know? Why would I do that, though? What fun would that be? Yeah, Nitro V. It's a good steel, man. And then you lend that knife to a friend. Exactly, yeah. When you get, if you see 3 Bs on a knife, you don't lend that knife to anybody. Not even if they're like, please, I need your knife. If you just show them, you just say, hey, you see those triple Bs? Big Brown Bear told me that I'm not supposed to lend this knife to anybody that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Sorry. I've been using the knife for fucking 20 years. Don't worry, just give me that 3B knife. No. Nope. It's like when you're trying to survive the zombie apocalypse and somebody's trying to bang on your door and be like, let me in, dude. I promise I'm not bit. Don't let him in. Don't let him in. Don't let him use your knife. No. best thing I've ever fucking heard. BBB stands for get your own knife. Oh, that's fucking epic. Yes. Ah. I'll drink to that. Yes, sir. Man, I gotta say, what an incredible journey. What an incredible journey this YouTube channel has been, you know. You can watch all of those like hundreds of videos I've wasted my fucking life on. Use your Bear Grylls, buddy. You can watch those hundreds of knives, hundreds of videos that I've wasted my life on, and it all started with this. And this is a cool story I should touch up on real quick. This is the first time I spent $200 on a knife. And I remember thinking to myself, man, that's like a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a knife. I really hope I'm not being foolish and spending this much money on a knife. This knife started everything for me. This is a Falkniven A1. Not the A1 Pro, just the Falkniven A1. This knife is so special to me that I've engraved my name on it. You know, I hope to pass this down to my son, you know, my grandson. This is something really special. You know, this is unique. I remember, like, I read so much about this knife. Listen, I'm just like you guys. I'm not so fucking far beyond you guys that I can't remember when I was new to all this stuff. Just like you guys. I remember everything. I remember when I couldn't sharpen. I remember when I didn't know what S30V was. I remember when I didn't know what Martensite was and all this stuff, you know, but just over time it accumulated. It just kept growing. I was so passionate about it that it kept coming to me. And I couldn't help. My cup was always empty. I would always go to fill it, and I would get my cup full. I would drink all the knowledge, and I just had to have more. And this is what started this YouTube channel. In that time, you know, in 2015, I've seen my friends, you know, go on to do, you know, more subscribers, you know, be more successful than me and stuff like that. But I've always stayed true to what I believe in. I've always stayed true to, you know, sharing stuff I was passionate with. And I've never been excellent at editing videos or doing any kind of fucking amazing shit or anything like that. And I know you guys like to see stuff like that, but just listen, man. I'm not a YouTuber. I am a knife freak. You know, I'm somebody that loves knives, you know, so that's where my passion lies. And every amount of income I could get, any amount of extra money I can get, I always put it back into the knife, into reading something or sharing something that I felt like I could help people that were like me, that were in the position I was, that wanted to know something but couldn't find it, couldn't find the information they wanted. Yeah. So I've just always stayed true to myself. It's never really paid off for me. You know, it's never really been like some fucking massive, like, oh, fuck, you know, getting tons of money or anything like that. I haven't made shit. I've really with this YouTube thing, I've probably lost more than I've made, you know, but I don't really care about any of that. You know, I've just been so passionate about cutlery and knives and sharing every little detail I could about you guys, with you guys, you know. And now 2019, while I'm so excited, while I'm having so many beers and having a good time with you guys here, is because I'm now in a position now where I no longer have to do what I had to do for a living. You know, I no longer had to do what I had to do for a living. There was a time in 2017 I was going to quit all of this shit. I was fucking done with it. I was just like, this hasn't paid off for me. You know, I'm not where I want to be in life. I'm not what I want. I look in the mirror and I just felt like, man, all this shit I've wasted my fucking life on is utterly useless. It has paid me nothing. it has been just something I've wasted my life on. And I was gonna quit all of this knife shit, and it got to a point where I just realized that it was strange that people would keep coming to me for stuff they didn't know, and it really just kind of made me realize that I really know a lot about all of this knife stuff. That I've really paid my dues, and I've really invested all of the suffering, all the times I could have invested in my 401k, all the times I could have invested in advancing my career. I didn't do that. I sacrificed. I sacrificed time with friends, sacrificed social things that could have really enriched my life just for these knives, just for this kind of obsession and singular mind focus into something that's, probably completely irrelevant into your daily life of your average human being. But being that this is kind of man's first tool, being that this is kind of the first thing that set us apart from the animals of the wild, I just felt some certain calling to these types of knives, you know? So it really brought me back into knives when I was at my lowest point in my life, and I felt like I needed to really either move on. I just felt you guys really brought me back into this stuff to the point where I was so bored of just buying the knives. The only way to get what I really wanted was to make this stuff. Yeah. The only way, if I don't make the knives, just what we seek for true performance and synergy will never exist. And so life is so short. And I over a lot of people would know how short life is. Being somebody that I've worked as an EMT, for the past 8 years. And I'm now at a point where I no longer have to do that for a living anymore. And it's bittersweet leaving that life behind, because the sense of duty, the sense of compassion and being able to be there for your fellow man, it was really nice. That's why when I got these scales from Rob, who was a firefighter up in Canada, I felt I needed this, this fire hose, micarta, because I respect what that means when you are willing to sacrifice your life, to something greater than yourself. I've been an EMT for the past 8 years. I have all the fucking patches and all that shit. 2019 is now the big change in my life. Big change in my life. I'm going to be 32 next week. 32-year-old man. And I started doing all this EMT stuff basically almost 10 years ago. When I was a 22-year-old man, I've sacrificed my life into thinking, I would be there when people were at their worst as an EMT, and dedicate my life towards being there when people were at their worst and needed somebody there to keep them safe. And I've dedicated my life to that. And it's interesting leaving that behind for something so consumerist with making knives, but at the same time, I feel like I've paid my dues to humanity, and that now I deserve the opportunity to now focus on doing something that I feel very passionate about, something that I like. Yeah. I don't know. I felt some sort of need, like I needed to pay for some kind of sin or something that I did, or dedicate my life towards helping people. But after 8 years of being an EMT, I paid that due. And I never have to look at my life and say that I've never contributed to society in making the world a better place and helping people. There's countless times, I feel like if I wasn't there in some of those situations, that things could have been different and maybe not have been so good. So I feel very fortunate. Yeah. I feel very fortunate that I can now move on from something that I had to do to make money to now do something that I'm very passionate about that makes me feel very good. Yeah. It's hard, dude. I don't even. Now that I see your comment, John, I mean, I'm feeling kind of fucking tearful, dude, because I just miss you guys so much. And you guys don't know, John was an EMT too, and times were pretty hard sometimes, with doing our EMT stuff. I think it's every day I got off my shift, I'd kind of forget what I experienced. I never thought too deeply about some of the stuff I went through. And it was kind of hard at times. If I really thought about what I saw or what I did. And I do feel I feel very lucky in life to now be able to push my passion and be able to do something that I really truly care about. But at the same time, I do miss my brothers and sisters in the EMT world. And I really miss my partner. I think James Lemon has been the best partner I've ever worked with. It hurts me that I'm not there to protect him and keep him safe. It's rough, man. Yeah. Fuck, let's drink. Yeah, man. It's tough, like you identify yourself as this person, as this EMT, the sense of duty, it's really nice to have something that's bigger than yourself. You really do feel the weight of your community. It's weird because you're such a small part in the world. You're such a small part in the world as an EMT. I mean, in the grand scheme of the world, who the fuck cares about what you do and the calls you run and the little things you do? And it's like a shark's teeth. Like if you leave it, somebody else will take your place. It's like a shark's teeth. When the shark's tooth wears out, it falls out. Another tooth takes its place. So who the fuck cares, right? At the same time, when you do something like that for a living, you feel the sense of camaraderie, the sense of like duty. And the people you work with are some of the best people you could work with in the world. And you've worked so hard to be where you've been that you can't help but to feel this kind of like sense of belonging and this sense of like that you are, the star of life, that you are the the person that when people are at their worst, they can always count on you to be at your best, to bring them back to the light. It doesn't always end with happy endings with that kind of job. Sometimes stuff is just really sad. But it's tough. I think that I don't know. Who knows? I haven't really explored some of the things that I've seen and went through. After 8 years of doing that stuff, you can't say that it hasn't had an effect on your life. And I remember who I was before I did all that stuff. And it's strange for it now to be an end. The best people you've ever known, that you're no longer going to be a part of their lives now too. It's fucking hard. But let's not talk about that stuff so much. Let's focus on the knives, I'm still reeling in on that because it's just this February that I've no longer been an EMT. And when something's been that big a part of your life, it's difficult.
I knew I couldn't do it for the rest of my life, but it's I don't know. Let's not think too deeply about this kind of stuff. Let's not think too deeply about it. I tried to do the best I could with that company, and I volunteered for everything I could. It's made me the man I am today. You know, with everything I've done from. Listen, like I don't want to brag about stuff I've done, but I volunteered for, you know, the river rescue team and the reach and treat team, and yeah. All right. Listen, we're on our sixth beer now. We can't drink this many beers. We can't drink this many beers without having to take a piss. So we're gonna have to take a little. We're gonna take a little break. So we need to take a little break right now. Then let's just talk about the steel. Let's not talk about that other shit. Oh. All right, all right, all right. John, you're a good dude, man. I remember you back in the day, man. And it's cool that you went on, you know, to be a paramedic and all that stuff. You know, I definitely, I'll miss you guys, you know, forever. Things we've done in our lives, it just can't be done again. And I don't know, man. It's just something it's hard to articulate, I think, when you find this group of people that are also willing and dedicated to helping people. You just, the sense of camaraderie, the sense of brotherhood, it's tough. You know, I'll be honest, I think that one of the hardest transitions into making knives has been the isolation and the I don't know. I'm just not made to be a very isolated person. when I talk to other knife makers, I think the one thing I notice is that they are kind of built in their mind. They're kind of built in their mind to be more like distant and isolated from people. So probably the best knife makers you guys are people you guys don't know because they're just not very good at talking to people. They're not very good at being able to articulate how they feel or kind of things that they think about stuff. And they just let their knives do the talking. You know what I mean? They just like make it. They make a really nice knife, and they let that talk. You meet them at knife shows. They have excellent work, and you try to talk to them, and they're just very distant and very. And it takes a special person to make these kind of knives, you know, because you spend so much time by yourself. You spend so much time by yourself to make these things to the level that they need to be at, to the perform where they need to be, that it's difficult to. You're so detached from humanity. And I think as a person, I find that very difficult. So I rely on you guys on these, you know, YouTube and all this stuff to keep me motivated to do this because I'm not that kind of person. I'm a very tribal person. You know, I think it's in my blood, you know, from my, you know, culture and all that stuff. I belong in a type of tribe or team or something, and I need to be in somewhere where people are very compassionate and very team oriented and sacrifice and stuff, or like you sacrifice your comfort to make somebody else very happy or something, you know, like that's somewhere where I feel like I thrive. Like I should have been somewhere where there was some type of team or something where you're part of something that's bigger than yourself. And so leaving behind this EMT stuff is very difficult. It's tough. We'll see if it's fruitful, you know. Or but I miss you, John. I miss all of you. And I don't think it's really hit me yet that I'm not going to see you guys day to day anymore. And it's difficult for me because I've known you guys longer than I've known anybody. In your life, it's interesting because you spend your life with people, you know, you spend in elementary school or middle school or high school, and those are kind of the longest times you've spent with people. But I've done this thing for 8 years, this EMT stuff. That's longer than you spend in elementary school or middle school or high school. And so these people that you get to know, like John, who comments here, you know, just it's difficult not to see them anymore. And it's especially difficult to know that if they ever run into something that's very difficult, that you're not there to keep them safe, and that you're not there to like help them. You know, if it's some kind of scary situation, they can't rely on your expertise or ability to keep them safe. It's difficult to know that, you know, with my partner, James, that I'm not going to be there for him. I a little shook up about that. I think it's been hard for me actually. But I think it's just the beer talking. I don't need to spill my guts to the universe. Yeah. I think it's just so fresh in my head right now because this is February is the month that it all kind of like culminated to down to me not doing this kind of stuff anymore. And it's time to focus on something that I've been very passionate about for a long time. And it's time to leave behind. It's time to leave behind that other stuff because there was a lot of apathy. There was a lot of apathy growing inside me. Still very distant. Yeah, titanium blades, man. Fuck titanium blades. Like seriously, people are always seeking solutions to ferrous alloys. People are always seeking solutions to ferrous alloys because they don't fucking understand how steel works. Whenever you hit a wall with steel, you're always trying to seek something else. Listen, man. Titanium alloys, no good. Yeah, no good. No point. You have not yet discovered the limit to ferric alloys, so there's no sense in titanium. It's titanium detectable with metal textures. Listen, man, I only care about the edge. I only care about the edge. I don't give a fuck about all the random shit. Yeah. All the random shit that the normal people think of that would make it more pertinent. You know, the normal person can come up with about 1,000 reasons why obsidian would make a better edge. Yeah, of why ceramic is superior to steel. But listen, man, who gives a shit about that stuff? It's so brittle and chippy. Could you use any kind of CBN stone to make any kind of consistent edge? What do I think about laminate steels? So you, knowing how obsessed I am with high performance steels, if there was anything that laminate steel was leaving on the table compared to just homogeneous blade, I'd be using it, wouldn't I? Being how obsessed I am with all this shit, I'd be using laminate steels, wouldn't I? But you don't see me do that. This is not a laminated piece of 4V, is it? All of my blades that I make are not laminated, are they? You know? I preached about how I like this fucking even and how I launched my channel with it. But you don't see anything like that, do you? Because I don't give a fuck about it. I think it has some merits, but there's also some trade-offs. And I think that for you to seek absolute perfection and performance with that, it's you're missing a huge world of performance by using only laminated type blade steels. And especially when you have to spend such huge amounts of cost to make the laminated stuff make sense. Yeah. So lamination is nice. But at the same time, differential treatments, you can also understand from looking at my work that that's also something I don't really give a fuck about, right? Because what difference does a differential treatment make on something like this? It doesn't, right? It makes a difference on something that's this thick with this geometry, right? But at the same time, like lamination does the same thing, if not better, or if not having some attributes and disadvantages to that. So you know what Big Brown Bear is obsessed with when it comes with knives. He's obsessed with cutting performance and hardness and all this stuff. What does differential heat treat offer you? It offers you the ability to baton your knife through a bunch of bullshit and have it not break in half. If you remember that test I did with stainless steel, where I had the CPM 154 and I had the LMAX and I had the S35VN, and I chopped it through a nail, and those blades all broke essentially. What the differential heat treatment would do is that you only have a hardened blade from the middle section here, and that it would slightly prevent the ability for the blade to break in half. But that doesn't do anything for you when it comes to the actual edge performance and this and that. And then that kind of gives you less of an area. You can wear away a knife that's heat treated all the way through, all the way until it's just a fucking needle, until it's just a toothpick. With a differentially heat treated blade, once you get to about this section, and while understandably the blade is already past worn out, it's no longer in the design shape that the maker designed it to be and should be replaced. At the same time, you do get a little bit more longevity out of a knife that's heat treated all the way through. The only advantage that differentially heat treat offers you is raw shock resistance, where if you're smacking the blade into shit and you're expecting it not to break, not to the point where you can take stainless steels and steels like CPM 10V and MaxMet, differentially heat treat them and make them that much tougher. Woo! Yeah, we had that battery die on that bad boy. But you know what? Oh, we still got some more beer here. We're gonna finish that beer off. And once the beer is out, that's when the video cuts out. So we're not quite out of beer. I'll still have this brew left. So if you guys have more questions, you keep asking. Yeah, you know, I was sorry about getting a little too heartfelt about the EMT shit. But you know, when something's been a big part of your life for 8 years, That's you have to kind of you have to talk about it, lay it to rest, so that you can move on to the next chapter of your life. Whether it's a woman you love, whether it's something that you've been passionate about but can no longer do, you have to kind of speak about it and let it get out of your system, so you can heal and move on to the next thing that you need to focus on. So, yeah. I mean, you know, did a lot of shit as an EMT. It was fucking rad. I like it. Looking back on it, it's cool. I did a lot of cool guy shit, whether it was wildfire stuff, wilderness stuff, river rescue stuff, mountain rescue stuff. I got an opportunity to do a lot of cool stuff, and it was really neat. And I appreciated and respect the people that I got to work with. And thank you. Yeah, it was awesome. No fucking hard A for me, man. I'm a beer drinking motherfucker. So, oh man, this Stardust is fucking intense, man. God, what is this shit? It's like 8.2% alcohol, man. This stuff is fucking intense. Yeah, if you just want to like save some money and just get a good time, get to Stardust. It's super hoppy though, yeah. I would like to make my own steel composition. I'm not a metallurgist. You guys have to understand. Big Brown Bear is not a metallurgist. He's just a steel aficionado, and I nor would I want to be a metallurgist. I'm just a sharpener. I'm a guy like you guys. I'm super blue collar. Like I use the knives and I see what I like, and if it doesn't work out, even though like supposedly the material science and all that stuff says it's super badass, like if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and I can't argue one way or another with it. Whether it's the limits of my own sharpening ability, which I've always strived to, make my sharpening ability the highest priority, so that I can always see, the benefits and drawbacks of something. And what I see is this person, Laren Thomas. He is a absolute savant when it comes to the things that I struggle at when it comes to just being an absolute genius when it comes to this kind of college level, academic level and professional level ability to understand all of these little details and caveats to things. So you guys see me as somebody that you can, translate all of this stuff, but at the same time, I am nothing without the people. Without the people that share information with me, just because I'm so able to talk to people and relate to people, people like Laren Thomas, are very valuable to me, because he has definitely opened my world to something I've been very passionate about. And that's why I always tell you guys to hey, make sure you guys support, Laren on Patreon and Nice Steel Nerds, because it's just, he does a good service to me, and he passes it on through you, whether you guys support him directly or not. If you support me, you are supporting him, because he is very vital. He's very friendly to me. He's very sharing and open with knowledge to me, and I'm very sharing and open knowledge with him. So it's very viable. These other people that make Waterstones and stuff like that, David Scott, Carolus, these other people, they bring a lot to the table as well. I don't want them to think that I'm directly competing with them, because I'm not. I can't. I have to focus on making knives, and I respect and I definitely admire what they bring to the table. They're very passionate also about making stones and things like that. There's no human possible way that you can be a master at everything. It's impossible. The only way you can bring what you bring to the table is by sharing of information and the ability to communicate. I always have my own weaknesses and things that I can't bring to you guys, but luckily there are people that are friendly enough with me that help me learn and grow as a person to then share back with you guys that are, entertained by me. So I appreciate you guys. Hey, Mick, what's going on? Yeah. Well, fucking Mick, you missed out, dude, because I'm fucking like 6 beers in. So we finished off this fucking 6-pack of the Elysium. We're having a good time, man. Well, so yeah, welcome aboard. Yeah. You guys don't know Mick. Southern Cross 100. He has a YouTube channel. You should subscribe. The reason why Mick is so important to me is because back in 2016, when I first started with this, with working with Daniel Haramina from Croatia on this Puko project and getting these gorgeous Pukos made, but supercharging it with incredible super steel. This one right here is in BD1N. It's 63 HRC by Peters Heat Treat. And Mick was an early supporter of this steel. Back when I had this stuff heat treated at 64 HRC, and this blade right here is 65. So I've been growing, I've been learning over these past several years. But Mick was one of the first people to get YouTube videos on the Puko. Puko was Finnish, it means to cut. It essentially is a wood cutting knife. That's why it's designed and shaped in this way with no guard and incredible geometry. 180 thou at the stock thickness. This one's 160 thou, so it's a little bit thinner. But I love Mick. Mick is from Australia. Australians have it pretty fucking hard in life because they don't get access to all the really sexy blades like we do here in the United States. And so if you're somebody that's very passionate about knives and you live in Australia, you're like the top fucking like 20%. You're like the top 10% of people here in the United States if you're just a regular knife person in Australia. Australian people are close to my heart because I know that Australian people are man among men. They love being fucking super manly and shit like that. But also, Australian people that love knives, they have it really hard because they have to pay 1,000% more for fucking good knives. The government's super liberal, so they don't really get a chance to really experience a lot of really badass shit. And this Mick person, this Southern Cross 100, subscribe to his channel because he actually, what I respect about Mick is Mick goes out there and he uses these knives. Yeah, Mick goes out and he uses these knives. He does a lot of carp fishing. He does a lot of fishing. He's an older gentleman, so he has a lot of experience with knives. He knows. He's been using knives since longer than I've been alive. I'm going to be 32 next week. Mick's been using knives longer than me. I'm definitely sure. Mick's a very intelligent person too. Mick's a chemist. He's a very, very smart person. So I have a special place in my heart for people like Mick. Even Pete from Cedric and Ada. A special place for them because they get a hard lot in life when it comes to loving these knives. If they love knives like these, they have to pay fucking way more for them because they have to pay the shipping. Unfortunately, they live in a country where the pinnacle of knives and nexus of knives. Listen, I know this might piss people off, but the pinnacle of knives is here in the United States because our laws allow it to be. In Europe, they have a lot of really fancy technology that might even be superior to here in the United States. In Russia, they might have a community that might be more focused on geometry and high performance steels and high performance abrasives, more so than the United States. But unfortunately, they all live in countries where essentially the laws that govern, things handicap their ability to really grow and exponentially experience these kinds of things. And they have the people that are really into that stuff are a lot more diehard than here in the United States because they have to be in order to experience that stuff. And so here in the United States, we're very fortunate that this stuff is like water for us, and we have the opportunity to really experience this stuff at a relatively low cost compared to places like Australia. Australians love knives. Australians are very fucking manly. They have to, they grow up in the outback, like fucking super rugged. They love drinking beer and chopping axes and stuff and swimming with fucking sharks. So Australians are, brothers of the same cloth, and I respect them a lot, and I appreciate them. So anytime an Australian loves my knife, I want to make sure that they get a chance to experience what I love as well. So Mick from Southern Cross 100, subscribe to his channel, and just realize that his channel's not going to be like a bunch of fucking YouTube bullshit, like flashy editing and stuff. You need to just take it for what it is, and take it for the fact that he's just showing you his experience in life, and he's just showing you his that he actually documents his use of knives and fishing and stuff like that. And I really respect and appreciate him. And in fact, one of my first knives I made 1 year ago, when I decided I was going to be a professional knife maker and I was going to work really hard to be a knife maker, Mick, was kept showing all these cool videos and shit. So I still have promised him a knife in 8670. I just need to finish the sheath and get it to him, and I hope he doesn't hate me, because I've just been really it's been really hard to pay all the bills and stuff like that from being a custom knife maker, because your time is so limited and it takes so fucking long to make something beautiful like this. People that don't know what the fuck is going on with custom knives, you think that you just mass produce that, or Sean, you got a 2x72, you just make that beautiful like that. This takes fucking time to make. You need to respect the fit and finish and things like that go into knives like this, because if you don't make it, you won't understand, because most makers are very meek. They won't tell you how long it took them to make them, because it is their job to make it. It is your job to enjoy it. I'm very vocal about all this stuff, so I will let you know that this is difficult to do. This is difficult to make something beautiful that you would covet and enjoy. So, yeah. Mick, I will get you that knife in 8670, and I am working with Lung Law to do a collaboration as well. Those of you that don't know Lung Law, he's kind of the black sheep in the knife community, and the reason is he really thinks outside of the box, and the reason why he does is because he's a physicist, and as well as for some people they feel like there's a certain language barrier because he has a very thick accent. He comes from Southeast Vietnam. And he was actually, a small boy during the Vietnam War. He wrote a book about his life, his biography. I really need to find that Amazon link and buy his book, because I'm definitely an aficionado of Vietnam War history, and the fact that he lived through that very turbulent time in that country is very fascinating. He lives down in California now. He's very thick accent, and I always recommend you guys to watch his video. He's very polarizing in the knife community, because some people feel like he's a real charlatan. I find merits in what he's talked about, and as well as when I first became a knife maker, when I was just trying to make a fucking knife out of 52-100, everybody was so fucking snobbish to me, and he was the one person that really came to me and was like, Sean, this is what you need to do. He was one of the first people to really help me with being a knife maker. So I really respect him, and he has a special place deep inside me, and I really want to make a collaboration with him. So I'm very excited. Yeah, he's very intelligent. I think that the one thing he lacks is just the ability to really show you guys how much he knows and things like that. And he pisses off other people that have more, he pisses off people that have more regular knowledge, I suppose. Hey, take care, man. I hope I was able to answer some of your questions. I hope I didn't come off too coarse with you. Just understand that I'm very, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I speak from my heart when I talk to people. And I know. Thank you for joining us in the live feed. Take care, my friend. But yeah, I find Lung La, he's very, very good dude. He's very good natured, and I really appreciate what he does. And I like the fact that his mind is just focused. So, hey, right on, brother. Yeah, take it easy. I hope to join you on another live feed. Thank you for joining us here. Yeah. His name is Lung La. It's Vietnamese. It's Southeast Vietnamese. He's got a very thick accent. But if you speak metal, he's a good dude. I like him a lot. I know he comes off as a charlatan a lot of time to a lot of people because he's not able to articulate to certain people what he means about stuff. But I like him a lot. He's a very good guy. Yeah, and so I look forward to doing a collaboration with him. And he's done some really good research and good work on T15 steel, which is very high tungsten alloy steel. Yeah. So he is a good guy. There's some stuff he talks about where I'm like, it's over my head even, and I'm just not even sure if it's like, but he's solid, man. I like him a lot as a person, and I like what he brings to the table as a knife maker. He's very obsessed with geometry, high hardness. You don't really see a lot of his knives just because he's so lost into testing them, and each one is very tested. If you're lucky enough to buy one of his knives, just understand that it's probably one of the most tested knives in the world, because no one can afford to do that kind of testing before they sell something. Most knife makers just have to make something, select the Rockwell hardness, and sell it. Yeah. It's LUONG, Lung, and then La, LA. It's Vietnamese, so it doesn't translate to any kind of like English language kind of stuff. Yeah, he goes by Blunt Cut Metal Works, and I hope I don't insult him or anything like that, but he has a very thick accent. And some of you guys are very off put by that, but you need to understand that what he speaks is from his heart, and he's very passionate about performance and knives. And deep inside myself, I really respect what he brings. And especially since when I was new to all this knife making stuff, he was one of the first people to really recognize that I was very passionate about the stuff. And he really helped me with a lot of things. Like when I he treated my first knife in 52-100 before I was a knife maker. He was the one person that wasn't just like, oh, you don't know anything, like fucking I'm not gonna help you. Like he was the one person that was like, oh, Sean, here's what you do. Here's what you do, Sean. You take because I was using a blowtorch at the time, and when I was first heat treating stuff, and he was very nice to me, and I really respect him, and he's got a special place with me forever. And I realize that for some people, he doesn't agree with the very like standard flow of stuff, and he disagrees with a lot of stuff. And sometimes it's difficult to understand what he's talking about. But he's a very good guy, and he's very passionate about this stuff, like I am. And I respect him a lot. I really look up to him in a lot of ways, and I like Lung Law a lot. If you're not subscribed to his channel, I recommend you do, because he's very special to me as a person. I couldn't grow as a person into this nice stuff without him. And I feel very fortunate that he would work with me with doing a collaboration. And there's no other person I would want to work with a collaboration than him, besides my good friend Chad Kelly, And yeah, I mean, listen, like I don't fully understand the crystal weaving technique. Like you got to understand about Lung Laws. He's more about the physics. He's more about the physics of how the stuff works, less about the metallurgy of how the stuff works. So he likes to understand how stuff moves around in the steel, and he's not so much about how the actual like raw metallurgy of how stuff is. And so he likes to really deeply understand how materials move in the steel. And so when I talk to him on the phone, it's always something interesting to learn about how the carbon moves around, or how like certain carbides are formed, and this and that. And I love his outside the box thinking about things. And I realize that most people, because they can't understand a lot of the stuff he talks about, or because it doesn't follow the routine doctrine of how things are written, they write him off. And as well as the language barrier, they write him off because his accent's so thick that like, oh, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's an idiot or whatnot. But he's a good guy, and I like him a lot, and I appreciate what he's done. He sent me a knife to test in Nylox, and it's 65 HRC in that Nylox knife. But if you if you look at the data sheet for Nylox, it only goes to 5960. So it's like, is this guy full of shit? Like, is this bullshit or whatnot? But sure as shit, I mean, I sharpened them on the stones, and given my experience with being a knife sharpener and using knives, like it was fucking hard, you know, like it was definitely like really hard when sharpening that knife in Nylox. And so I was just like, God damn, like this is fucking hard. Like, who knows what number HRC it is? I don't have a Rockwell tester. Fucking support me on Patreon because you guys know that if you support me on Patreon, I will buy all this badass equipment and I will be able to tell you guys a lot more stuff. But it was fucking hard on the Stones, you know. So I was just like, God damn, like I know this stuff doesn't go like supposedly super hard on the spec sheet, but this is pretty impressive, yeah. I mean, that's in Sean. I mean, listen, dude. Like, you gotta understand that the Rockwell hardness test it has so much variables, and it's impossible to say for sure what Rockwell hardness something is unless you understand those variables and who's testing it and the condition of the Rockwell hardness tester. You can get something that is vastly different Rockwell hardness numbers than something else. Listen, motherfuckers. You guys need to understand. Here's how the Rockwell hardness test works. Let's get into this. I don't want to get into this, but Sean always brings out the fucking like the little detailed questions, you know. Rockwell hardness test is a 120-degree diamond penetrator. Diamond penetrator. And so the integrity of that 120-degree shape and the sharpness of it is really important. Now, the next thing you have to do, if you run a super accurate reading, your calibration block needs to be this highly specified piece of metal, okay? That's like, say, whatever hardness it is. Before you test the Rockwell hardness tester, you need to test a calibration block, which is essentially a circular piece of metal that's highly polished, so that the surface finish of it doesn't interrupt how the Rockwell hardness test is. You remember earlier in this video, this is a really long video. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Herb Toker. Perfectly flat. You remember in this video, I talked about how this is 65 HRC, but it's possibly a little bit harder because I didn't grind off all the decarb on there. But also the fact that this was a really rough finish, okay? And it didn't get off all the softer scale from when it was hot rolled from the factory because I couldn't afford all the belts to do that, unfortunately. You know, I have more knives to grind. At the end of the day, I got bills to pay and all that stuff. I'm not like super in, you know. Listen, the reality of the situation, right? So this was 65 HRC, possibly 66, but the heat treatment itself, the heat treatment protocol was for 67. With the Rockwell hardness, you need to take an average of Rockwells. So each blade needs about 3 or 5 tests. And then before you do that test, that 120-degree diamond penetrator needs to be perfect integrity. It can't be too worn out. And if it's not completely flat, it wears out your diamond penetrator a lot. And then the fact that also your Rockwell hardness test C goes to about 100 HRC, but when you go past 70 HRC, you would wear out your 120-degree diamond penetrator so much that once you're at about the high 60s, low 70s, you wouldn't necessarily use Rockwell test C for that. That's why that test kind of ends at, you know, high 60s, low 70s HRC, even though the scale itself on the machine goes all the way to 100. Like, come on, give me a fucking break. You know, so you could get something that's 83 HRC if you tested, but it wears out the integrity of your really expensive 120 degrees diamond conical penetrator that comes inside there and tests the actual metal. For you to understand why you wouldn't test stuff that's super hard, you need to understand that that diamond penetrator is actually like $300, $400, $500 to replace. So you fuck that thing up. It's not ideal, you know, to sit there and test stuff that's harder than those values that I just mentioned there. But there's just so many fucking variables to it. What I'm kind of getting into is that there's a lot of variables to it. That one person's HRC, you need to scrutinize it. You need to scrutinize when somebody tells you a certain Rockwell hardness number. You know, there's some people that are like, oh man, like this heat treat must be bad because they're giving me like a 58, like 61 HRC. Like the bigger range between those two numbers is bad. So that must mean their heat treat's not consistent. Listen, man, the Rockwell is its own fucking world, you know? And what you're supposed to do is take like 5 tests. You're supposed to calibrate it on a special block and a similar hardness before you test it. The integrity of your penetrator should be good before you do the testing, and then as well as you do the average of it. And then you share the average of that test to the point where, like, if somebody is sharing with you the range of their hardness, they're probably being more honest. They're probably being more honest if they're telling you that, hey, the hardest range of this metal is anywhere from 59 to 62, than if they're just telling you the hardness is 62. Because where they're getting that 62 value is the fact that they take an average of 5 numbers if they're doing a very thorough test. They're averaging those out, and then they're showing it's about 60. It's safe to say this is 61. So when I find people arguing about that stuff, it just gets into a deeper subject when it comes to people that only rely on Google to share their information or learn about something. You're always at a disadvantage because there's a certain level with this knife stuff that the only way you can learn more or know more is to go deeper. You have to fucking do it. There's no way you can just read about everything. It's impossible. You have to do it. Yeah. You have to do it. So when it comes down to stuff, and that is one reason why I respect the Long Law. He's Vietnamese, and what he does is he provides a lot of real world information, even though it's against the flow of normal doctrine and thinking. At the same time, he provides a lot of real world data. When he just fucking uses the thing, and he shows you what it can and can't do, and you can take it for what it is, whether you can apply it to the context of what you're using something or not. So, yeah, there's something to be said for academic knowledge, but there's something to be said for real world knowledge. And you can't rely on both, but you need to have a flow of both. You need to have the ability to understand academic knowledge, but you also need the ability to have real world knowledge and be able to experience things and put things into practice. Realistically, a doctor fresh out of school knows a lot of academic knowledge, but at the same time, he gets his pass, he gets his ability to practice medicine. And what people don't understand about that is well, what do you mean practice? Everybody always says that when you say practice medicine. What do you mean practice? Because he's practicing with people's fucking lives. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you practice the most precious thing that people have, their finite lives? The realistic thing is the fact that we don't know everything about anything. And that realistically, in order to truly understand the world and all the phenomena that surround us, is that you have to take what you understand with the academics and the raw knowledge and take that information and put that into practice with what you are experiencing in reality. And that is how you grow, and that is how you understand how things work. And so it's not about taking things where you read them on fucking Google and stuff like that. And you will experience, if you ever have your own YouTube, you'll experience people that fucking just take Google knowledge and fucking shit on you in the comments and all that stuff. And it's give me a fucking break, dude. Because you can tell right away when somebody just only has information that they've learned from reading on Google and this and that, versus if they're actually fucking making the knives and they're actually having to put the heat treat and all that stuff into practice and see what works, what doesn't work. So it's one of those things where it becomes difficult to really share and argue with people, if they're not within the same context to truly understand what you're fucking talking about. And so these live feeds, they seem to help because I can really express what I see in the comments and what you guys are asking me to really truly explore and share things with you guys. Once we're out of this beer, we're fucking done. This has been a long live feed. Any more questions? Any more questions? I've been fucking just talking over and over again. Exactly. Yeah, if there's one thing, here's the problem. Here's the problem with this channel. This channel comes off in a way that I am basically enriching people to be keyboard commandos. I'm enriching people to be super elitist and snobbish about all of this shit. But at the same time, it's listen, man, don't be a dickhead. Don't be some elitist, snobbish fuck. Seriously. Everything works within the right context, so quit being a dickhead. I'm not here to basically make you guys stops. I'm here to share my experience and for you guys to share yours with mine. And to basically have us all kind of have a certain understanding of everything works within the right context, and to certainly synergize things that will behave the best within a certain preference and use. So exactly, yeah. And so I feel like the best way to come across something so complex as the subject of knife performance is to really do these live feeds where you guys can, share with me directly and I respond directly. So yeah, and you know what? Listen, it's not easy to do what I do, where I share with all this stuff because it's such a complex subject. Listen, man, I get lots of hate. I get lots of people shitting on me. I get lots of people fucking give me a hard fucking time. I have to take it. I have to bear the brunt of it. Anytime you share your opinion about something, you put yourself out there. You guys know me. You see my fucking face. You know my name. You know where I've been. You know my history. All this shit. It's what's up, dude? What's going on? It's difficult to put yourself out there to get shit on, to put your opinions out there to get judged and shit on. But at least you guys, you know what? At least you guys know where I stand, and you guys can at least make that judgment about me versus some fucking nameless, anonymous shadow fuck that doesn't share anything about himself and has the luxury of being able to judge from the safety and comfort of being anonymous. So yeah, I'm out here for you to shit on me, and I'm out here to at least share my opinion about things. And it's difficult. People that know as much as me, people that know more, guess what? We don't fucking share shit because we put our opinions out there, and guess what? They get shit on. And we owe nothing to people that don't know anything. We owe people to just, you know what? We make the fucking knives. We make the knives. People buy them and like them. Those people enjoy them. The people that don't, we don't sell those to those people, okay? That's it at the bottom line. So it is what it is. But at least I put you know what? For all you people that fucking hate on this shit, at least I put myself out here for you to shit on me and for you to form your opinion about me and for you to judge me. And you know what? I've been doing this YouTube shit for 4 years. I don't give a fuck anymore, so it's fine. Yeah. Yeah, Cliff Stamp is a very polarizing figure, but you know what? So is Lung Law. And I, at least, have been in the knife community long enough to understand people that think outside the box and to respect and appreciate those people for what they bring to the table. And Cliff Stamp is not a fucking person that people look on. When I was first getting into all this knife stuff, people were looking at Cliff Stamp and dude, this guy's a fucking asshole. This guy's a fucking piece of shit. This guy is this and that. And listen, man, I've been able to be in the life community long enough to form my own opinion about Cliff Stamp. Cliff Stamp is not those things. Cliff Stamp is just a person that seeks the truth about things and doesn't care what people thinks about him. And I think Cliff Stamp brings some things to the table. And I think Cliff Stamp is somebody that people take the words that he says and misconstrue them, and they come off as assholes about him, and people reflect that back on Cliff Stamp. But that has nothing to do with Cliff. Because Cliff is actually fairly balanced in his thinking when it comes to metallurgy and knife steel and this and that. Cliff is not saying AEBL is the best steel ever. Cliff is saying in the right context, AEBL would be best if you're looking for something that has high edge stability and sharpness. Yeah. No, I don't even know what your question is, Scooty. What was that email you sent me? Goat? That was some crazy shit, dude. I don't even know how to respond to that. Yeah. Listen, man, I will tell you right now, it's fucking hard to be somebody that people rely on for kind of expert opinion about stuff because you share a lot of good information, but people only pick bits and pieces about stuff and they misconstrue everything you say. And so it gets to the point where it's you know what? Fuck you guys, I'm not sharing anything because all you're doing is taking bits and pieces of what I say about stuff and you're using that against me, or when I want to talk about something I'm excited about, you use it as in a way that it's man, fuck. I never meant for that to come off that way, but you guys are interpreting it that way, so it's fucking rough, man. I never wanted to be an expert on anything, man. Listen, I just wanted to share something I loved about, and I wanted to take a stand, and I wanted to take something that share my opinion about it, but in order to do that, unfortunately, people see you as black and white in certain things. We respect people as humans We respect people that basically have a more black and white stance on something. When the reality of anything is that the world is pretty fucking gray about a lot of things, and that there is no best knife, there's no best steel, there's no best heat treat, there's no best this or best that. It all depends on the context of that stuff. Unfortunately, that's too vast of a fucking like something to comprehend for the average person who doesn't know something, or the average mind. And people aren't that into it. They're just like, you're the expert, you should tell us, you should be able to basically describe stuff in a way that's black and white. This is good, this is bad. And unfortunately, it doesn't quite work like that. You force us people that focus on this as our life and passion to really share this kind of stuff with you in a way that it is black and white. And it's fucking rough, dude. I never asked for this. I just wanted to share with you stuff that I enjoyed and show you guys that certain synergies that I enjoy. That's the reason why you see Big Brown Bear, me, I use all the steels. I use S110V just like I use Nitrobe 77 because I respect the attributes those bring and the certain synergies that those would basically enhance for certain preferences and uses. But unfortunately, I'm pushed into position by you guys that don't know as much or want your own biases and opinions expressed to be like, no, fuck you, show me that 20CV is the best, or show me this steel name is the best. And it's fucking rough, man. I hate that shit. And it's rough because at the same time, I rely on you guys to make a living and to share my expertise and ability to execute, things like this, but my job as a knife maker and somebody that's so knowledgeable is to express to you guys in a way that this is important or has a lot of synergy and merit in its certain use and preference. For some of you guys will find this is fucking excellent if you can handle the trade-offs that it offers. I would like us to be in a world where we can kind of experience and enjoy all the merits that these steels have to offer. Yeah. But I face an uphill battle, and it's rough for me. I have to pay my bills. I have to do what everybody else does. I'm no different, really, than all these other makers. I mean, I still have to fucking cater to you guys and cater to what your guys' needs are, what your own biases are. I can't just make all the stuff I would make because not all of you guys have the time or money to spend in being super fucking passionate or this and that about all these different steels. And listen, man, it's my job to explain this stuff to you guys, and that's what you guys rely on me for. Yeah. So I will always be honest with you guys. I'll always be true. And even if I hope it helps me, but at the same time, it could hurt me. But listen, man, as a custom knife maker, I live to only cater to a certain small group of people because I cannot mass produce this. So realistically, Big Brown Bear can only cater to like 100 people. I can only have 100 customers that I'm very intimate with, that I basically share every little detail with about this is good for this is good for that, or this is my experience with this, or this is my opinion. And some people, they'll gain from that experience and really enjoy that. They'll have to pay a lot of money for it, unfortunately, because since I can't meet the volume and production mass that some other people can, bigger companies and this and that, it'll be a really fucking fun ride. It'll be a really fun roller coaster for those people that have that ability or place in life where they can experience that. And I love to have other people experience that too. But listen, man, like it's difficult to spend your time doing this stuff and making these knives. You guys don't have really an appreciation for the isolation and time spent. Like my hands, essentially, my raw hands, if we think about human evolution and how the human body is designed, I'm going to develop horrible arthritis from doing what I do. From making something shiny like this that people appreciate, I'm going to develop horrible rheumatoid arthritis from making these knives. There's no way I can keep making these forever. I can only make a finite number of knives like this before my body is broken and weak and I die. It's impossible. So you people that are with me that appreciate what I do and what I experience and what I share with you, you need to understand, I'm going to be crippled and die. There's no way I can possibly meet any kind of demand that people would like. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to make a gyuto because it is something I'm very passionate about. I love kitchen knives most because, and this is another topic. There's somebody else that's very special to me that I need to bring up. This is kind of like a little touch on every person that's special to me, but Super Still Steve, and I know he pisses off a lot of people because he's very honest about stuff. And what I like about Super Still Steve, if you're not subscribed to his channel, please subscribe because he has a lot of candor and he speaks from his heart. He's not afraid to offend people. He's a lot like me in a lot of regards. Some of the stuff he says, some people can pick it apart. Sure, anybody can pick apart something that somebody puts out there for them to pick apart. That's fine. I do the same thing. You guys can fucking shred me apart. You can call me a faggot and all that stuff in these videos. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I've been a YouTuber for 5 years. I know how this stuff works. It's fine. I can give it back to you. But at the same time, what I respect about Steve is that he speaks from his heart and he has a lot of candor. And at the same time, candor, if you don't know what that word means, candor is a very important word. Candor means you speak honestly about something, even if you're not afraid that it will hurt that person's feelings. You don't say your honesty to offend that person. You speak your honesty out of love, and that's what candor means. Candor is basically being honest to the point out of love, but not honest to the point where you're purposely trying to hurt somebody. And that's what candor means, and that's what Super Steel Steve has, and that's why I respect Super Steel Steve, and that's why I appreciate him a lot more than I've ever articulated in videos, because I haven't really had an opportunity to. And how the fuck are you supposed to do something like that in the public, And so what I like about Super Steel Steve, what you guys don't understand about Super Steel Steve is he's been in the fucking trenches. Somebody like Super Steel Steve has used a gyuto in a really high performance atmosphere. You guys don't really have a context to understand what it's like to work as a professional cook or chef. You go out to eat and you just expect a really good food that you pay a lot of money for. But Super Steel Steve, his life has been to make sure that your experience, no matter who the fuck you are, if you pay the money, he goes into that kitchen. He slaves away and he makes sure that he's using his knife in a way to express the ingredients and things that you eat and pay a lot of money for at their best ability. And so he is using gyutos and things like that at a very high level. And so I have great respect and admiration for somebody like Super Steel Steve, because Super Steel Steve has been in the trenches and has worked in a very low paying job, somewhere that's very low respected in society. Nobody gives a fuck about somebody that cooks your food in life. But think about what somebody does for you. When you go out with your special somebody you respect and love, you go out on your wedding anniversary, or you want to go out with your boss or coworkers and do that stuff. You go out to eat, to socialize. People go around to eat food. Food is a way, we all need to eat food to nourish our bodies. And Steve's job is essentially to basically enhance your experience when you actually go out and build connections and socialize with these people that you're going to spend the rest of your lives with. Steve's job is essentially to make that exceptional. His job is to basically make that the best experience of your life. He understands that some people can't afford to spend all that money. Restaurant business is fucking hard knock life, dude. It's like being a little orphan or whatnot. You got to work hard your whole life. It's like being a fucking ugly chick. Like, you're going to have to work for your living. You're not going to have to rely on, daddy big bucks to pay your way through life because you're hot. Like, when you're an ugly chick, you got to work hard. And that's essentially what being a cook is like, You got to fucking work hard for the money you earn, because nobody gives a fuck about how hard it is. They just expect results, So it's tough, dude. It's tough. And so knowing where Steve has come from, from being a knife sharp. Listen, as a knife sharpener, like I'm like basically like I'm like a fobbit, like I'm like somebody that supports somebody like Steve, where like essentially he's the person that's using the edge that I would sharpen to make a living. And so I respect people like Steve more than anybody, because they're probably the last profession to still use knives in a professional way that would justify my fucking existence. He's the last profession of people that would essentially be able to like say everything I've discussed and justify and are passionate about on this channel with hard steel, with geometry and all that stuff. His 8-hour days would experience that things that I am very passionate about and would be able to be the last area of people that would express those things. Because, when you're using something 8 hours a day, you realize very quickly that a thicker knife, if you were to use a Falcon Even A1 Pro to, go through 8 pounds of onion prep for your menu that night, that evening for dinner prep, this wouldn't fucking work. You need thinness. Super Steel Steve is the only person probably in the world, the only profession in the world that would probably appreciate this, which is why, getting back to the original question that spurred up all of this fucking, heartfelt appreciation for Steve, just one of the only professions that would really appreciate my work. Because since I'm so passionate about very hard steel, very thin geometry, and the only way to get that is to do it by hand and to be very knowledgeable about it and to be very able to suffer and possibly starve and fucking die to do that, because listen, man, it's tough to make stuff by hand. You guys forget, this is the 21st century. We're on the point in human existence where we have the first ability in human existence to basically have everything automated. Within the end of the 21st century to the 26th century, we're facing the fact that everything will be automated, and that the fact that everything that we appreciate and all the work experience and this and that and skill in life can be programmed, and that we no longer have to rely on the fact that there are skilled artisans to do all this stuff, and that robotics can do stuff more consistently and better than anything that human hands can do. Spyderco, for instance, have robots sharpen all their knives. Yeah, so listen, man, the days are numbered for people like me that are very passionate about this stuff in the 21st century. Take care, Scooney. Listen, man, I appreciate you. Thank you for sending me that email. All that ghost shit was pretty funny. I didn't even know how to respond to it. There was like a fucking so much to it. But you put a lot of work and time into it, and I appreciate it. And thank you, man. Thank you for all the stuff you do for this channel. Recommending me to like all these Bark River people and stuff. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Like, to be honest, I like the community I'm in right now, where it's just a very small niche thing, and I can talk very passionately about this stuff without having to talk to a broad audience about all this stuff. Thanks, Goonie. Take care. Have a good night. Appreciate you. Once this beer's gone, we're fucking done with this live feed. So I'm gonna try to nurse this guy, and then we're done. But yeah, it's late at night. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you guys realize I'm kind of a night guy. I used to work nights on the ambulance, and I've been kind of accustomed to working at night. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. I think one of the things is, I like the hunting knives because I feel like they're very manly. When I think about just being like, when people think about my geometry and my passion with heat treat and steel performance and edge performance as being only regulated to kitchen use, it kind of makes me feel like, I don't know, inadequate. Like, I feel like everybody in different uses and this and that, from EDC to hunting to kitchen use, culinary use, can appreciate something like this. They just don't know anything about how, like, you should just use your knife better, and respect and appreciate the steel and the the time put in to make something so thin. I mean, listen, man, like, I could rake you guys over the coals. I can make knives super thick and make lots of money, and it'd be easy. I can just do belt finishes. I can do 20 thou behind the edge. I can do 17 degrees per side and never have to worry about anybody chipping or breaking knives. It'd be super easy for me. I know so much. It'd be so easy to manipulate you guys into thinking like, oh, Big Brown Bear is high performance, but it's really just for people that don't know any better, and it's easy to like make money off those people. But deep down inside, I'm so honest and I think I've lived with a lot of apathy from being an EMT and knowing how short life is, and just being just so distant and just okay with just being apathetic towards life, that it's time for me to change and be passionate again about what I feel in my heart and what I want to do. And so it's very important for me to do this, even though some people will fucking be like, this is easy to break, this is bullshit, you're a faggot, like whatever, dude. Like, it's fine. I'm totally fine with that, because, like I said, I can only make so many of these knives. And for these to get into the hands of people that understand and know that this is very hard to do and very difficult to get, like, it would just make me so happy in life to know before I die that people have appreciated and loved what I've done and seen the sweat and tears that I've done. But listen, it is my job to articulate these things to you guys, because people that don't know, and it's my job for people to understand that it is difficult. It's difficult to fucking hand grind something with an even plunge. It's difficult to get this hand sanding. It's difficult to do these little things. But listen, man, what's the point of living your life if you're always cutting corners, if you're always doing shit you don't give a fuck about? Like, man, fuck all that shit. Like, you live and you die. Like, a modern man probably only lives to about 80 years old. You live your whole life to retire when you're 60. You probably die when you're fucking 80, or you live the rest of your life in their fucking retirement home. What's the point of you living your life always cutting corners and doing stupid shit? You should live passionately about stuff you care about, and you should find what you care about and find a way to make money at it. Because what the fuck is the point? Like, you're gonna die. Who the fuck cares? Like, the Earth has been around for billions of years, and here you have this opportunity to live for 80 years, and you're gonna spend the rest of your life just doing stuff you don't fucking care about. Like, find what you care about, do the best at what you can do, and find a way you can make a living to pay your bills and keep your family happy and stuff. Like, that's all. Like, that's all I care about, really. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. So, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, at least I put enough of my, for the people that hate me, for the people that say you're bullshit, fuck you, like, fuck all that bullshit, fuck all. Listen, at least I put enough of myself out here for you guys to talk shit about me and hate about me. Because listen, most of the people in life you experience, most people fucking hide. Most people are they're just in the shadows. They talk a big game. They have a big fucking big game about stuff. You look them up. They don't have much to say, though. You don't have much stuff to judge. At least you guys have enough about me to judge, to realize if you fucking hate me or if you love me. And I find the people that I appreciate the most in life are people that have a lot of people that hate them, or a lot of people that love them. So I want to weed those people out. I want people to either love me or hate me. I don't want people to be middle ground about me, like Sean's okay or whatnot. Like, either Sean is fucking somebody I hate, or Sean is somebody that I love. So that's that. Like, it is what it is. I don't mind people, like, talking shit about me in the comments and stuff. Listen, I've been a YouTuber for the past 5 years. I know what it's like to have people just fucking hate on me. Look, for being a YouTuber for 5 years and having only like less than 5,000 subscribers, you've been on the grind, man. For sharing as many videos as I've had, yeah. For sharing all the videos I've had, if you look at the video volume I've had, and the amount of subscribers I've had, you can't not work hard, for people just to not and to not have to deal with hate and all that stuff. Like, it's fucking fine. Like, I don't mind. I respect people that have enough of an opinion about me to say that they hate me or that I'm fucking bullshit or this and that. It's fine, because at the end of the day, a lot of people are afraid of putting themselves out there for people to judge them. That's the one reason why the biggest public fear is public speaking, because we're all afraid of being judged. We're all afraid of people saying, like, I'm gonna fucking kill you because I disagree with you and all this shit. So, yeah. But we're at a point with all this knife stuff. The only way to really enjoy this stuff is to really just speak our minds about it, and let the hate be hate, and let the love be love. So, yeah. I respect you guys. I appreciate you guys for being on this channel. I mean, it's late as fuck at night. I think that's also one reason why I do these live feeds into the late night is because I know for sure that the people that are on this channel, these 24 people that are in this live feed right now, these are diehards. These are people that love what I love. These are people that I count on. These people aren't bullshit. They can't hide it. If you're still watching this live feed, like you're fucking legit, you know, you're on that level. So yeah, it's one of those things, you know what I mean? So thank you. Appreciate you guys. I couldn't be where I am now and share what I share now without you guys that have loved and appreciated what I've done over the past 5 years. So thank you. You know. No, we just got a little last sip. Michael Christie is a good guy, man. I feel like people always compare me to him, and they always try to put me in a position where I'm like, well, who's better, Mike or you? Listen, man, I always put Mike here. I'm here. I always put Mike here because I like what Mike does. It's impossible for me to do what I do without noticing what Mike does. And I love Mike like a brother. And for people to like compare me to him and also like try to pit me against him as far as who's better, fuck you, dude. Because Mike is here to me. Mike is special to me. And I will not tolerate people that try to compare me to him and try to say that I'm better than him or this and that. Because Mike, I know what Mike's gone through. Well, you guys don't realize that try to like compare me to Mike or pit me against Mike, like, oh, who's better between you and Mike? I talk to Mike all the time on the phone. Me and Mike are best friends. You can't get where I am in life with deciding to do this in life without having close friends to you that support you and people that you can talk to when you're like, man, I don't know what to do in my life. Like, man, this is hard. Like, I don't know. Sure. Mike is somebody I call. Mike is somebody I talk to get me through things in life, you know, a lot of the time because I respect Mike. And me and Mike have both been through and experienced a lot of hard things in life. And we're both a similar age. Mike's actually a little bit older than me. So Mike is very special to me. Mike will always be special to me. Anybody that talks any shit about Mike, I will not tolerate that. You're asking to be my enemy if you do, because Mike is very special to me. And I've been one of the first subscribers to one of Mike's channels because I saw the potential that his channel had to offer with testing all of these different Spydercos, and his sharpening ability has definitely inspired me. Before I was able to do a lot of hair whittling edges, I remember watching Mike. It was always impressive. And Mike is very special to me. Yeah, I really respect and admire Mike. You know, I respect and still admire what he does now. And I think that Mike has a lot of potential to still discover in what he does. So Mike is very, you know, Mike is very special to me. And he will always be somebody that's very close to me. So, yeah, I like Mike a lot. Mike Christie, if you don't know, his videos are very, can be very somewhat distant. He's just very matter of fact about stuff. But you guys don't know Mike like I do. I talk to Mike on the phone. Mike is not a very personable person. Mike if Mike doesn't know you, he will not connect with you. You don't joke with Mike. You don't fuck with Mike. You know. But I have earned the ability to be able to, you know, at least, you know, talk with Mike on a certain level. And I've had some hard experiences in my life that were very difficult to get through in the past few years. And being able to call up Mike and be like, hey man, like, I just need somebody to talk to about if I should keep going with this knife stuff. And Mike was always there for me. And so Mike will always be a brother to me. And I love him. Yeah, he's a good guy. So, yeah. It's enough about Mike, though. Yeah, Mike's a good dude. Yeah. You'd be wise to not talk shit or give Mike a hard time, because if you saw Mike in real life, he's one of those guys you would not fuck with. Yeah, for sure. Mike is a solid dude. He's a very disciplined person, and you'll find that he's somebody that's very stoic, and he has definitely a warrior mindset, and I respect and admire Mike, and he has a mutual respect for me, and we both have an understanding with each other, and we're both very passionate about knives, and both seek the truth of performance and want to share with you guys. You have to understand, people that share with you guys here on YouTube, we run into a lot of problems with doing that. It's very difficult to share with you guys the truth of matters, and we sacrifice a lot of our own money and time. Man, people like Mike, you need to understand, don't have a Patreon. They don't monetize their YouTube, so Mike doesn't get any revenue or money from sharing all the stuff he does for you guys. At least I make knives. Mike gets nothing from this stuff. So you should definitely respect and admire what Mike does share with you, because it comes at a cost of his time and money. And so, yeah, you need to have the utmost respect from people like Mike Christie. Because Mike Christie comes to you from the heart. Mike Christie comes to you from nothing. And he doesn't get anything from it besides the respect and admiration you guys share for him, and being able to see that what he does and shares with you at a high level doesn't come without a cost. So, yeah, I hope in the future that Mike is able to share with you guys and have some kind of way where at least his fans or people that love and appreciate him are able to at least pay him back for some of the stuff he does share with you guys. Because listen, man, this motherfucker just shares from his heart, and he just gives you what you guys need out there to hair whittle. And listen, before Mike Christie, people were saying S110V would not hair whittle, to the point where even I myself was thinking, like, I guess S110V is not made for that, because the synergy of S110V is really for a toothy edge. But it wasn't until I saw back in 2016, 2015, a Mike Christie video where he was hair whittling an edge with S110V. What is that, like fucking 4 years ago? That I was like, holy fuck, I guess there is potential, and it's just my job as a sharpener to just not be such a pussy and sharpen the thing. Nobody wants to hear that. Everybody wants to always hear there's some new, yeah. Everybody wants to hear there's some new steel or new fucking stone or new technique or new system that'll get them where they need to be. But as people, thank God for people like Mike Christie that just show you that it's all you. It's all inside of you to get that steel there, that edge there, and not be such a fucking pussy and blame everything around you for, like, oh, I need to buy one more thing, or I need to buy this, or I need to buy that. Like, man, fucking Mike's a solid dude, man. And I respect and admire him. He'll always be fucking brother to the brown bear. So, yeah. Yeah, he's a good dude, man. Yeah. Good dude. I love Mike Christie. Yeah. Fuck. Probably call him tomorrow, Solid. You know what? It is a fucking drag to share information. This sucks balls to share information. It gets to the point sometimes where, like, I don't want to do YouTube videos because it sucks ass. Because you just run into so many people that are just so misinformed, that are so fucking, they don't know anything, that you're just like, who the fuck cares anymore? Like, fuck it. Everything you learn at this level, that you guys that are still watching this channel, is so esoteric. What esoteric means, esoteric is an important word. You should look up the definition. Esoteric essentially means that you know something that is not of value to the rest of society. You know something that is at a level that basically nobody gives a fuck anymore. That it is so deep, it is so at a certain specific level that it is no longer relevant to regular life or society. So esoteric, look that word up. It's very important. And essentially, that's what happens to people like us that are very passionate. And you realize it is your responsibility to share with what you've decided to waste your life on, and grow people to the point where now you can have, just have a fucking conversation with people. That's all you want, because you become so lonely. You become so lonely with what you know that you just want people to just be as excited as you are about all the stuff you know. It becomes your responsibility. But at the same time, responsibility isn't the right word for it. Burden is the right word for it. If you think about what burden means, burden is a weight. Burden is something that it is your responsibility to share with these people factual and truthful information. It is no longer a want, but it is something that you need to do, because if you don't do it, people will fall into darkness of not knowing what the fuck is. Because if you don't do it, people will fall into darkness of not knowing what the fuck is going on until somebody else fills your shoes to share this stuff. Yeah. So it's rough, man. It's tough. And also like people always misconstrue all the good information that you share. Like even on this channel, I try to share the most factual information as possible. Even on this channel, I try to share the most factual information as possible. Only people pick bits and pieces of bullshit from you, and then they try to take that and argue with other people that you agree with, and it's always hard, man. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very fortunate that, what is it, the 24 people that are still in this live feed right now, part of the most passionate people about this stuff like me, because you guys understand that it's not just the steel or the heat treat or the geometry, but it's also the user, that it's also the ability to sharpen, it's also your sharpening equipment. And you guys are kind of on the same vector as me. Vector meaning same, like, because you guys are kind of on the same vector as me. Vector meaning same, like, position to grow from here, where it's like you have no choice but to make if you want the highest performance, you have to make the stones, you have to heat treat the steel, you have to like develop the geometry, you have to foster a certain understanding of what geometries are worth for certain uses and all this stuff. Because if you get all this stuff together, if you get all those different things together, you get to have at least people appreciate the same thing that you appreciate. When you take a knife at this geometry and you cut something with it, it's incredible. It's just fucking incredible. Like the way that something like this just cuts, like it's incredible. I mean, I still need to like touch up this edge because I've been hand sanding this son of a bitch. But yeah, when you get something like this with a very crisp apex, a very low acute angle, at this hardness, at this thickness behind the edge, it's lost on a lot of people because all they're looking for is durability and shit. And it breaks my heart, because all I want to do in life is just have people experience the things that I love, and just have other people that I can talk to about this stuff. Because it's so isolating to create something like this. I just want other people to get this in their hands and understand how to use it. And once they do, they appreciate it. Like I said, my best customer is Peter Aker down in California, and he is I like him the most because I don't need to really like sell him anything. He just has gotten his hands on some of my work, and he just uses it, and he just likes it. He doesn't need me to like tell him 1,000 things about it or why, or argue with him. Like he picks up the knife and he uses it, and he's just like, Big Brown Bear knives are the best knives I've ever used, and he doesn't need me to tell him or preach to him or all this bullshit. And so if I could just have 100 Peters, like I'd be really happy in life. I'd probably stop making YouTube videos, because all I need is about 100 good customers, and those people will just know that they can't get that anywhere else. Because listen, man, it's not cost effective to hand make stuff in the 21st century. So yeah, man, it's fucking awesome. Yeah, Herb Tucker, I like people like you because you actually have a profession. You have a profession who can respect what I appreciate. Because people like you, Herb Tucker, listen, man, it's difficult to make knives like that. It costs so much more money and time to produce something at that kind of thinness and that hardness and geometry. If I had to look at this like a business, like a raw business, if I was a raw businessman, this wouldn't make any sense to make this for you. Yeah. This wouldn't make any sense to make this. This doesn't make any sense from a business aspect to me. If I was a raw businessman, I would not make these handmade like this. This is stupid. This is stupid as fuck to do, because I will. How can I justify the time and cost that goes into that I would then also segment myself to people that can only afford something like that, because they would have to place their value in it, but they don't. Most people don't understand the value of something like that. And then at the same time, like, what about the wear and tear of my own body to make that stuff? You know, like, I'm going to, if I keep down this path of handstanding 4V, I will develop. I've been in the medical community long enough. I've transported people. I know where I'm going to end up and the suffering I'm going to end up. The rheumatoid arthritis and things I will express in my body from making something like this is going to be fucking horrible. I will suffer greatly to make something like this, for just some stupid object, that just cuts something. Like, who gives a fuck at the end of the day, right? But at the same time, I don't know. Like, it's just about doing the best with what you know and something you care about in life, I suppose, with your little stupid finite life. What do you live 80 years? You know, what is the history of the earth to 80 years, 4 billion years, and here you live only 80 years and you only have this 80-year lifetime, one chance in your whole existence to make any kind of difference that people will appreciate, respect, and remember you for. I guess that's the only thing people care about, is that your life is somewhat significant in the finite infiniteness of nothing, so hmm, interesting. This is with your Patreon money, this is what I bought. I bought this Mitutoyo. This is a very high-end caliper, and I use this basically for inspecting my geometries behind the edge thickness and this and that. And I've got to say, this dial caliper has been a very important tool. Listen, I didn't make really any money from putting up my Patreon stuff. It kind of hurt. It kind of hurt me a little bit to know that when I asked you guys for help for Patreon, and you guys told me, like, essentially, like, I didn't really get much fanfare from it when I put up my Patreon. I lost subscribers actually when I put up my Patreon, and I probably lost, what, like 10 or 20. Like, fuck off. Like, I don't need you here. If I'm asking you for help and you guys tell me, like, like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore, like, man, fuck off, because I spend too much of my time in life force to do this shit. So, if you don't appreciate what I do, then go get a fucking CRKT. Like, no harm meant to CRKT. They're a company that make money and all that stuff, but seriously, like, fuck off. And what I did with that Patreon money that I got from January to February now is essentially it went towards this. I didn't really make that much money. This is a very expensive tool. This came out of my pocket, but the money I got went towards this Mitutoyo. And essentially, this Mitutoyo is really important for my channel and what I share with you guys. It's really important for me to share with you guys my behind the edge thickness. I make a big fucking deal about it, for Christ's sake. So it's important that I at least get a very accurate reading. And this Mitutoyo dial caliper, what it does for me is, well, first off, it's blue, which is fucking cool. But also, it's very accurate. And its accuracy comes from the fact of how well it's machined, how well the tolerances are on the actual clips in here. And the fact that it doesn't run off batteries is really important, because those batteries die very quick on the digital calipers. So this has been very important for me. So the fact that when Big Brown Bear shares with you guys how the behind the edge thickness is and how big of a deal I make about it, at least you'll know it's a somewhat accurate of a proportion when I share that with you. So I just want to say thank you for the people that did support me on my Patreon and allow me to feel more comfortable with sharing my hard-earned time and knowledge with you guys here. I think I've talked in the past about how at the end of the fucking day, for this YouTube channel, all I really need to share is like 30-second clips with you guys, just showing how cool something looks. And the people that use stuff can then just, I don't know, just word of mouth talk about how good my workmanship is and things that they can't get. I don't need to sell to people that need me to, like, tell them the sky is blue and that you know, if they look down, they see the ground, like, fuck all that. I don't really even need those customers. Like, I just need people, like I said, I only need 100 good people that appreciate and respect my work and realize that the only way they can get it is by handmade by an expert. And so, thank you to the people that did support this channel. You've made a big difference in my life, and you've been able to get me things like this. And I really appreciate that kind of shit. I mean, hell, you know, if it wasn't for people sending me stuff, uh, Michael Emler, I've had some disagreements with him in the past about sharpening Maximet and stuff like that. To be honest, you can thank him for the live feed tonight because of him, he referred me Gary Creeley Rex 121 knife for me to sharpen to buy my beer tonight, and I'm very thankful to him. I think Michael Emler speaks from the heart, and he's very passionate about stuff, and I have good respect for him because he makes a living from all this stuff. Yeah. So, Michael Emler, I know there's some conflict between my ideology and his ideology about certain things. You guys need to realize, like, Michael Emler is a good dude, man, and he speaks from the heart. He's like me. He wears his heart on his sleeve. You know where he's coming from. There's no bullshit to him. There's no lying. Michael Emler will always tell you where he feels from his heart, even if you fucking hate him. And I respect and admire him in a lot of ways. I got a chance to meet him at Blade Show West, and we have a great understanding about things. And yeah, I mean, fuck. There's no way I can ever compete with him and his sharpening for money and stuff like that. I'm a knife maker, not a knife sharpener. I want to make knives. Sharpening some stuff on the side helps me just buy some fucking beer, man. Listen, man, it's tough when you no longer work for the man and you have to make your own living by what you sell. And if you do something good, you should never do it for free, right? So, yeah, thank you, Mike, for sending some Rex 121 and Maximet customers my way just to pay my fucking beer money. So, if you want to thank somebody for tonight's live feed, you should thank him because there's the reason why I have beer in my cup tonight is because he sent somebody that had a Rex 121 Gary Creeley Mako knife down to me for me to sharpen to buy some beer. So I'm very appreciative. And I've seen some comments in the past of people saying that, like, oh, Mike's bullshit or Mike's a son of a bitch or this and that. Like, don't do that. That hurts me. Like, I like Mike. I've met him. He's a good guy. He means, you know, he means well. He's very passionate about knives. He makes a living sharpening knives. Like, come on, man, give somebody a fucking break, you know? Exactly. Like, what's the big deal about fucking disagreeing with somebody? Have you ever had a best friend that you disagreed with somebody with? You know, my best friends in the world, I disagree with certain things about them with, but that doesn't mean we're not best friends. Like, listen, quit being so serious about everything. Like, just lighten up a little bit. It's at the end of the day, it's just fucking knives. Like, it is and it isn't, right? But at the end of the day, it's just knives. And Mike Emler has got a fucking heart of gold, and he's never done no wrong to anybody. He's always done a good job sharpening, and he makes a living at it. So being so fucking hard on that guy because he's a good dude. You know, he don't mean no wrong with it. So being an asshole. So I've seen some comments. I haven't responded to them. I haven't deleted them either. But lighten the fuck up. You know, just because me and him had a little tough about Maximet and him. Listen, we both hashed that out. I've had some conversations with him. I called him up. He's a good dude. We both have a good understanding that, listen, Mike Emler has got to make a living at sharpening, and he doesn't, you know, he doesn't always have the time to sit there and sharpen these little fucking high speed, you know, 70, 67 HRC knives with all the special stones and shit like that. That doesn't mean he doesn't do a good job. Yeah, so he still makes a living at what he does. He provides for his family. He's got a young daughter and stuff like that. Quit being a fucking dickhead, you know? He's a good dude. You know, I like him a lot. I definitely have a beer with him. You know, I met him at the show, and I was surprised how down to earth Mike Emler is. Like, he's definitely somebody I get along with, and I respect and like him a lot. I don't have to agree on every little fucking thing with him, and that doesn't mean I fucking have to, like, you know, be like, oh, you don't need to listen to my. He's a good dude, man. You know, so quit being a fucking dickhead. That's all. Yeah, I'd have solid. Yeah. We just got a little sip left, and then we're fucking done with this live feed. We've been going on too long. Who knows if I'll even leave this shit up? Probably delete it. Got a little too heartfelt about my EMT bullshit. No, man. You know, I mean, listen, these live feeds, just for dudes that like this channel and like what I do, just a way for me to communicate directly with you guys in ways that I can't when I just like, film a scripted video where I'm just like, oh, this is this and this is that. This is just for people that appreciate what I do and want to give me some feedback or just talk to me and have a conversation. I've got a lot of hard work ahead of me. Life is not going to be easy here. We'll have to see if we survive or if I have to get a fucking job at Taco Bell down the street. But we're gonna try to make all these knives for the Eugene Blade Show. Eugene Blade Show, Eugene, Oregon. If you don't know, it's down in the valley. It's south of Portland. You drive down the highway, and that's the big plan for all this stuff. I mean, Jesus, who the fuck knows how many knives I'm gonna try to get done? Because at the same time, you still have to pay your bills, and you have to pay for that. The lights on, the beer in your cup, and the food in your fucking belly. You definitely live. Like every knife you make, you have to you survive like a hunter gatherer kind of shit. Who knows when your next meal will be? You can look at me though. It looks like I'm not missing out on too many meals, but we're gonna try to do some good for the Eugene Knife Show. I hope some of you guys here get a chance to meet me at the show. Don't feel offended if I don't know you or any of that stuff. You guys get a chance to know me. I find it's always kind of difficult for me because you guys get to see my fucking stupid face all day on this YouTube. I don't know what you guys look like. I've never met you guys before, so I have to meet you guys, but you guys feel like you know me because I share so much about myself with you, and you guys don't feel offended if I have to learn you and figure you out. While I share so much with you fucking strangers on YouTube, I'm a fairly personable person. I don't really share too much about myself, but I look forward to meeting you guys that appreciate my work at the Eugene Knife Show. That's down in Eugene, Oregon, and I hope you guys get a chance to get your hands on my work. At the same time, I hope you guys appreciate my work and understand why it is at the price it is at. It's really just for the people that respect and admire the hard-earned blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it. So it should be a good time. I really look forward. I'm going to have my sharpening station set up. Those of you motherfuckers that need to learn a little hands-on sharpening, listen, man. I will teach anybody how to sharpen a knife freehand in the world. I don't care who you are, where you come from, what your limitations are, what your disabilities are. I'm not an elitist fuck. I'm not some snob that thinks that only certain people with certain talents and skills should be able to sharpen freehand. I think it should be an essential skill to enjoying the performance of these knives that I make. I don't make these knives out of super steel so that they don't need to be sharpened. They absolutely need to be sharpened freehand, or any system that you have, etc. Whatever you can get your hands on. And at the Eugene Knife Show, I will have my sharpening set up. I will have my exotic custom CBA Waterstones there. I will teach anybody hands-on. I will get my hands on your hands. I will show you how to sharpen. I will show you what it's like to be able to sharpen freehand, and then I'll let you go and I'll let you sit there and sharpen. Yeah, so freehand, my personal experience is the only way to go. That's not universal. I respect and admire people that do the Edge Pro stuff or any fixed angle stuff. I'm not very good at that stuff. So listen, to each their own. Like some friends of mine are very good at the Edge Pro stuff, and I respect and admire them. I'm not trying to say, yeah. So I look forward to you people that will come and join me at the Eugene Show. Those of you that I put enough of myself out there for you to fucking hate me and you want to come at me, we'll fucking go, dude. We'll fucking fight. We'll do whatever you want to do. Yeah, so I'll be there. We'll go. Yeah, but those of you that respect and admire me, I'll be there for you guys to enjoy, and I will share information with you. Those of you that want to fucking
hurt me or give me a hard time, I'm ready for that as well. It's fine. I've been doing this shit. I've been putting myself out there for people to hate me for 5 years. I'm not unaccustomed to it. You have to remember, I've been an EMT for 8 years. I'm used to people spitting in me, spitting in my fucking face, throwing fists at me and all that shit. I'm ready, dude. I'm ready for you. But at the same time, yeah, I'm also ready for people to respect and enjoy what I have to offer. So, yeah. No CBN stones for sale now. You guys have to. It's really difficult to articulate to you guys how much work goes into these CBN stones. I feel like some of my other competitors, which at the same time I do respect it. I admire the people that are focused mostly on just making these stones. We have kind of a consortium of people that are focused on bringing the highest performance stones in the world to you guys, the regular knife user that is obsessed with knife performance. And I kind of have an understanding with these people that, hey, like, listen, like, I'm not some like I'm not some money grubbing motherfucker. I'm not out here to fuck you guys. I'm not here to like take what you guys share with me and like use it to market my bullshit. Like, I fucking hate people like that. And all I'm here to do is just share what I have to offer and market it that to you guys if you want to buy it. If not, if you can find a better deal or price, fucking buy that. At the end of the day, it's skill, not tools. But my focus with the stones is just to make something that I'm very proud of and something that I find is the best for what I like. And if you guys want to buy that, that's fine. So it takes me a really long time to make these stones. I'm testing some prototypes right now. I'm hoping to have some for you guys by Blade Show West, which is another Portland, Oregon show. I live here in Oregon, and Portland, Oregon show. It should be at the convention center near downtown Portland, and I hope to get a table there here in 2019. And my biggest hope is to have these stones available to you guys, and just realize that anything I do have available for you guys when it comes to the stones, it's been done with blood, sweat, and tears. I never went to college to be a material scientist. I'm not a metallurgist. I'm not some kind of fucking savant with all this numbers and bullshit. I just basically take what I read and enhance it with what I experience and with my skill and ability. And I just use what I use. If it doesn't line up with what I like, then I try to figure out how to fix it and figure out something that would be something that I would want to buy myself. Because I have to use it. And listen, at the end of the day, it has my fucking name on it. So why would I have anything that I don't feel passionately about with my fucking name on it? I can't meet any kind of volume or any kind of expertise of a raw material scientist or somebody that studies ceramics for a living. It's impossible. So at the end of the day, it may take me a long time to bring something to the market, but what I do bring to you guys is something that I feel very passionate about, is something that I would want to buy myself and enjoy and experience. It doesn't take anything away from something else that somebody else would have to offer to you guys. I will always just steer you guys into the right direction of something you guys would be best for you. But I will make what's best for me, and I will share to people that I feel like would also enjoy that as well. So I'm hoping by Blade Show West, which will be in August, I believe September of 2019, that will be the time and place when I launch my stone line of CBN vitrified water stones, which I feel like will be the highest performance for certain merits. Yeah. I would like to be mainstream, but at the same time, I have a certain cadre, a certain group of people, a core people. There's something unique about doing stuff like this when you have just a small group of people. It's very enjoyable. You don't have to explain the same fucking things over and over again. You can always cater to the very esoteric of stuff. And at the same, but the problem is, here's the problem: I have to charge more for something like that. Yeah, to charge more for something like that. The vitrified stones, they're not going to be fucking cheap, dude. They're not going to be cheap. People, I feel like expensive for a stone is anything about $100. You know, extremely expensive is about $200. And listen, I know I never came from money my whole life. I've been poor my whole life. Never made any money in anything. Listen, man, I've made like $25,000, $30,000 a year for the past 8 years. My life as a fucking EMT. If there's anybody that knows about being broke and blue collar and not making any fucking money, it'd be me, man. I drive the same piece of shit car for the past fucking 5 years. You know, I don't know when it'll break down. I experienced the same thing you guys experience, but I've just been very passionate about certain things, and you know, just push my life into certain things that may leave me homeless or fucking broke. Who the fuck knows? Everybody I ever knew told me like, man, that's not a good business opportunity to do what you're going into. But these vitrified stones will be expensive. There's no way around it. We're talking anywhere from 300 to 400, $500 a stone. That's more than most people can bear, man. That's more than most people can bear. Because listen, I'm in the same shoes as you guys. I know exactly. But like I told you guys from the beginning, there's no lying in me. I'm only focused on delivering the best to 100 people that appreciate that kind of shit. And it's just not for everybody. It's not mass producible. If it was, I've talked to several companies, dozens of companies, about bearing the burden of the cost to make these stones. And I came to the conclusion 2 years ago that the only way something like this would ever be made is if I did it myself and spent my own hard-earned money. I've sacrificed a great deal. It's hurt relationships in my life. It's hurt experiences and things I could have done in my life to do what I do now. And I've decided that it was worth the risk of, you know, inevitably ending up a failure if it so happens, to push my financial resources, my limited financial resources from what I've done helping people for my life, to build these stones, because I saw them as a potential for truly experiencing raw performance in these knives, and it was necessary to getting to the point where we needed to be to really synergize performance that we could see and enjoy and appreciate. So, yeah. So we'll continue with this. We'll see. Some people will find merit in it. Some people will not. I will never blow smoke up anybody's ass. If I talk to anybody and they tell me like I need a stone, I'll never tell them they need any kind of expensive stone. You guys know me. You guys have been on this channel for a while. You know, I'll always steer people into something that they need, not something that there's kind of a want that they would never experience or synergize for them. Yeah. So I have no choice but to be honest, and it allows me to be passionate about what I do. I can't stand any kind of deception or maliciousness about things in life. Everybody's full of shit, it seems, with life, but I at least want to keep that, and I think that's worth its weight of gold, even if I have nothing. So we'll see where this goes. It'll be interesting. It's scary. I will say that anybody looking into doing knife making, doing all this shit, it's frightening, you know, knowing that your reputation or life's work can get in the wrong person's hands and that they would shit on you. And it's tough, man, to deal with people that hate on you and stuff. Like, it's tough to put yourself out there. Sometimes I think about life and wish I was just also in the shadows about stuff, and wish that I wasn't so prominent or people ask me questions or stuff. You know, I just keep it all to myself and not have to worry about people and never talk about anything. But there's a sense of duty I think I feel to share things with people, and to never just kind of, if something I feel like is wrong in my heart, to stand up to something that I think, even if it hurts me. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, just like what I was saying, Herb Toker, you know, just I live as a handmade custom maker to just live for 100 people. If I can have 100 people, I'd be happy. I don't need to talk to 1,000 people. I don't need 1,000,000 people. I just need 100 people. That's all I need in life to do what I want to do in life. I just want to make these. I want to make them thin and hard, and I want people to appreciate and feel the same feelings I do. And I don't need more than that. If I get more, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's all you need. You know, it's interesting too. If you think about human physiology, it originally you have evolved over millions of years to basically be in a group of people about a company size in the military, like 100 to 120 people, 90 to 120 people. That's about as many people as you can remember and be passionate about or care about or even not care about. 100 people is about usually the size that you can deal with. Humans, no matter how social media attached or this and that, we are still humans, we're still animals. And we can't help but to be still what we've evolved to be over the past millennia. And, even though modern times over the past 2,000 years have definitely grown to the point where it's faster than we can evolve to accelerate to, we're still tied to what we've evolved to be from natural selection and survival. 100 people, 120 people is about the limit that we can truly connect with. So I don't need 1,000. I don't need 1,000,000. Yeah. The fuck cares? I'm a very personable person. I'm a very passionate person. How can I connect with 1,000 people? It would just water it down for 1,000 people. So my knives will be expensive, the stones will be expensive, but my idea is that if I can just at least connect with 100, 120 people, that's all I need in life, and I'll be happy. Get a call in the night, hey man, the knife isn't. Hey man, like what steel do you think I need? Like, I like that kind of shit. I don't like the whole fucking like random people using stuff and just I don't know. I've looked at this whole thing and I realized like I don't really want to run this as a business. I want to be a handmade maker. I want to know when I'm dying on my deathbed and my hands hurt and all this shit because I can't move them because I made all these handmade knives. My hands are all fucked up. But the people that I made them for appreciate them and pass on the information that I've hard-earned and shared with their young ones and move it on. So it's good, man. I like that kind of shit. I'm a very personable person, so I like that. All right, fuckheads. Spilled my fucking guts for however long, 6 hours or whatever the fuck. This video's done. Yeah. Yeah, right? Herb Toker. I mean, here's the thing. I spill my fucking guts to make some amazing knife, and some person that doesn't give a shit, what is it worth to them? And who gives a fuck for them? At the end of the day, for them, it's just a knife. For you people that care, it's more than that. It's something you use and cherish and understand the work that goes into it. Understand that I spilled my fucking guts into it, and that it's something that you would appreciate and use with respect and caution. Yeah. So, good times, man. I'll leave this live feed up for a while. I guess until fucking too many people shit on it or whatever. I was like, fuck you. Meet me at the show, motherfucker. Isn't that the funniest thing? People have so much of an opinion until they fucking see you face to face and realize that they have to talk that shit to your face, don't they? It's a little bit different then, isn't it? Yeah. So see you motherfuckers at the Eugene show. It'll be enjoyable. If I get enough beer money, we'll do another live feed. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go eat dirt and make these knives. So thank you guys. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Yeah, it's been good times. Thank you for the Patreon support and getting me this tool that I need to do what I need to do. And thank you for the 21 of you that are still here. And I appreciate and respect you guys. Still have to sign up for the show, so we'll see if they have a spot for me. I guess I should make promises before I'm even signed up. I've just done it last year about this time. We'll see if I can still sign up. Otherwise, I'll just have to sell them on YouTube or whatever. Who gives a fuck? But I do like, I'm a very personal person. I like to talk in person. I like to share and show you guys what I have. And when you see my knives in person, me showing any of this stupid shit online, it doesn't like have like the same value as if you can like pick it up in your hand and see, and me explain it to you and show you how to sharpen and all this stuff. That means a lot. So yeah, thank you guys. You guys are the diehards. You guys are the reasons why I do this fucking shit. You're the reasons why I fucking regrind. You're the reasons why I'm so alone and spend all this time fucking grinding and miserable and fucking my hands hurt. And then thank you. So.